The Priestess's time travel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 601 I Love Science 2. Su Qingni changed her clothes and took a taxi to the Su family. The Su family is located in a villa area on the outskirts of the city. The people who live here are either rich or noble, and it is difficult for ordinary people to enter. However, the security guard knew Su Qingni and knew that she was coming to the Su family, so he let her in without making things difficult. Su Qingni glanced at the security guard and said, "Don't ride the electric scooter home when you get off work in the middle of the night. It's too dark at night. It's better to rest in the security room for 2 or 3 hours before going home." The security guard smiled and nodded, but he didn't agree with it. Su Qingni didn't care whether the security guard listened to her or not. She walked into the gate and went to the Su family's villa. Su's mother received the notice from the security guard and was waiting for Su Qingni at the door of the villa. Su Qingni saw Su's mother and hurried forward and took Su's mother's arm. Su's mother saw Su Qingni and immediately laughed. "You are so thin, come in quickly. I asked Mrs. Zhang to make soup. You should drink a bowl quickly." And Su Qingni felt kind in her heart, which was the emotion of the original owner. From the original owner's memory, Su Qingni saw that the original owner and Su's mother had a very good relationship, and Su's mother loved this daughter very much. Su's mother had some problems with fertility. After giving birth to Su Xiaoru, she never gave birth again. Therefore, Su's mother put all her maternal love on the original owner. Now she knows that the original owner is not her biological daughter, but she can't take back the feelings she has given. Su Qingni took the opportunity to hold Su's mother's arm to help Su's mother feel her pulse to see what's wrong with her body and whether she can give birth again. She thought, if Su's mother gave birth to another son, what would Su's father, who has the idea of valuing boys over girls, choose? Would he choose a daughter or a son? With a son, Su's mother can also focus on the original owner's attention on her son, so that she can leave with peace of mind. The pulse results showed that Su's mother had some problems with her uterus, but the problem was not big, and it could be solved by taking 2 pills specially prepared by Su Qingni. Su Qingni chatted with Su's mother casually, and the medicinal materials needed for the preparation of the pills were already listed in her mind. After dinner, she went to the pharmacy to get the medicine. Su Xiaoru and her father were not at home, both of them were very busy. Her father was busy with his own company, and Su Xiaoru's mother was not very clear about what she was busy with. She only heard that Su Xiaoru was very interested in becoming a big star and intended to enter the entertainment industry. Su Xiaoru did not have time to deepen her relationship with her mother. No wonder her mother missed her adopted daughter more. Dinner was also eaten by 2 people, and the other 2 did not go home. Su Qingni imitated the original owner and chatted with Su's mother for a long time. The content was all boring, but Su's mother was happy, so Su Qingni could only listen patiently. Hearing the sound of Su Xiaoru coming back, Su Qingni was about to give her a good person card. It is really not an easy thing to chat with middle-aged women, especially nagging women. Su Xiaoru was surprised to see Su Qingni in her home, and then she showed a fake smile. "Qingni, you are here. How are you these days?" Su Qingni narrowed her eyes slightly, and some questions were all clear at the moment she saw Su Xiaoru. "Not bad," Su Qingni replied, and then said to Su's mother, "And I still have to go shopping, so I'll leave first." "Oh, okay, let Lao Zhang drive you." Su's mother knew that her biological daughter had returned, and her adopted daughter would definitely not stay, so she didn't ask her to stay, and only told the family driver to drive Su Qingni away. Su Qingni passed by Su Xiaoru, and Su Xiaoru moved her fingers, and an obscure force flew from her fingers to Su Qingni. Su Qingni also moved her fingers slightly, and the obscure force was bounced back by her and returned to Su Xiaoru's body along the original path. The 2 people's fight lasted only a moment, and no one else noticed it, and even Su Xiaoru didn't realize that her hidden hand on Su Qingni was bounced back. Su Qingni's eyes narrowed again. She didn't expect that Su Xiaoru still had a treasure to protect her body, helping her block the rebound of the attack. The backlash of the unlucky talisman before was also eliminated by that treasure, right? No wonder he was still alive and kicking, and asked meaningfully if he was doing well recently. It seems that she herself was not aware of the treasure's help to her. Su Qingni released her spiritual sense and searched around Su Xiaoru's body, locking onto a jade pendant that Su Xiaoru was wearing. The carving of the jade pendant was very rough, but the jade quality was very good. Rather than a jade pendant, it was a jade slip used by practitioners to record information, and it had a certain protective function. Su Qingni felt that this jade slip was not simple and was very different from ordinary jade slips. She had the urge to take it and study it. However, the jade slip belonged to Su Xiaoru, and taking it rashly would only alert the enemy. Although she could use some of her power in this world, due to her physical limitations, the strength she could use was not strong, at least not as strong as Su Xiaoru, who had been practicing for many years. At least, she had to cultivate a strength higher than Su Xiaoru before touching her things and her. Su Qingni asked the driver Lao Zhang to take her to the center of the city, where there was the largest pharmacy with a very complete range of medicinal materials. Su Qingni bought the necessary medicinal materials and returned home. Sitting on the soft sofa, Su Qingni began to practice. She had to practice. With Su Xiaoru, who was full of malice towards the original owner and had the ability, she had to make herself stronger than Su Xiaoru. The first 2 times Su Xiaoru attacked the original owner and her, she just did it casually, without using much strength, and at most only used 1 or 2 points of strength. That was because Su Xiaoru knew that the original owner was an ordinary person and treated the original owner as an ant that could be crushed to death at will. If Su Xiaoru used all her strength, the current Su Qingni could not stop Su Xiaoru. Seeing Su Xiaoru in person today, Su Qingni finally knew why Su Xiaoru was full of malice towards the original body and wanted to kill the original body. Su Xiaoru had traces of time on her body, and she was reborn. Without exploring the timeline of this world, Su Qingni could guess where Su Xiaoru's malice towards the original body came from. It must be that Su Xiaoru had a very bad life in her previous life, and the original body, the fake daughter, lived better than her, the real daughter, and was more liked by others. And with Su Xiaoru's petty and vicious character, she must have done a lot of bad things in her previous life. Not only did things not meet her expectations, but people hated her even more, and she didn't end up well in the end. Su Xiaoru would not admit that it was her own fault. She would only attribute it to the original owner who took everything from her, so she took the initiative after she was reborn, first taking back her parents, then taking the opportunity that originally belonged to the original owner, and even wanted to kill the original owner. Su Qingni has seen many such reborn girls. She didn't work hard in her previous life, did something wrong but blamed others. I really don't know why God would let such a person be reborn. Chapter 602 I Love Science I. Su Qingni was doing 2 things at once. While practicing, she used her soul to invade the timeline of this world, found the thread between the original body and Su Xiaoru, went upstream from the fork, and saw the life of Su Xiaoru in the original body in the previous life. In the previous life, 1 year later than this life, the identity of the original body was discovered. After the original body went to college, she went on a trip with her classmates and had a car accident. During the blood transfusion, the Su family parents found that her blood type was different from theirs, and realized that Su Qingni was not their biological daughter. Su's father asked someone to investigate and finally found out that the original body and Su Xiaoru had been swapped. The Su family parents found Su Xiaoru. However, Su Xiaoru grew up in an orphanage and was not a good child who studied hard. Compared with the original body who was well-behaved and had good academic performance, she was very unpleasant. The Su family parents left both daughters in the Su family to raise them. The excellence of the original body further highlighted Su Xiaoru's unbearableness, making Su Xiaoru jealous and resentful of the original body, secretly tripping the original body, but always being discovered. Su's parents were very disappointed with their daughter. Their guilt towards her was worn away by her various behaviors, and their attitude towards her became perfunctory. Su Xiaoru blamed everything on the original body again, and she had the idea of getting rid of the original body in her heart. Su Xiaoru spent money to find a human trafficker to kidnap the original body and sell it to the mountains. The original body broke free from the restraints and escaped. She was discovered by the human traffickers. During the pursuit, the original body was not careful and rolled down the cliff. The human traffickers thought the original body was dead, but they didn't know that the original body was lucky. The blood splashed on a jade pendant she was wearing, which made the jade pendant recognize the owner and protect the owner. This jade pendant was the relic of the original body's biological mother and was originally in Su Xiaoru's hands. After Su Xiaoru returned to the Su family, she disdained the things left by the original body's mother, so she threw the jade pendant to the original body. The original body attached great importance to the relics left by his biological mother and hung the jade pendant around his neck with a rope. Unexpectedly, this jade pendant is a treasure. It saved the original body's life and also made the original body's fate turn a corner and head towards a more glorious road. This jade pendant is indeed as Su Qingni judged. It is a jade slip for cultivators to record information, which records the cultivation methods of Zuinmen. However, the jade slip is also a protective magic weapon that can help the owner resist attacks and dangers. The most important function is to help the owner resist the exploration of the owner by the heavenly Dao. The 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies of the people in the Zuinmen are because they leak too many secrets of heaven, which leads to the punishment of the heavenly Dao. This jade pendant can prevent the heavenly Dao from detecting that it is the secret of heaven that its owner leaked, so that the owner of the jade pendant will not face the 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies. Being able to use the secret of heaven to make a lot of money while still being able to live healthily and happily, a life of incomparable happiness. The original body rolled down the cliff and saved his life under the protection of the jade pendant, but he hit his head and lost his memory. The original owner only remembered his name and didn't know where his home was, so he lived in the mountains for a year, during which time he practiced the skills in the jade pendant. A year later, the original body had made some progress in the art, so she left the mountain. After leaving the mountain, the original body helped her future husband by chance, and was led by her husband into the upper class and became a heavenly master sought after by the upper class. Then, the original body met the Su family's parents, and the mother-daughter relationship with Su's mother restored the original body's memory. The husband of the original body investigated the original body's past experience and learned that Su Xiaoru had let human traffickers deal with the original body. He was very angry and wanted to teach Su Xiaoru a lesson, but the original body stopped her husband for the sake of Su's mother. Although Su Xiaoru was not sent to prison, the Su family's parents disliked her very much because of this incident. Su's father chose an adopted daughter this time for the sake of interests. The two gave up their daughter and decided to leave all the Su family's property to the original body. Su Xiaoru was even more indignant, and even thought of killing the Su family's parents, while they had not left a will. In this way, when the Su family's parents died, the Su family's property would only be left to her, their biological daughter. Su Xiaoru's plan failed. Su's parents found out that Su Xiaoru wanted to kill them and drove her out of the house. In the end, Su Xiaoru lived in poverty for half her life and died in her 50s. After death, Su Xiaoru was reborn at the age of 16. After knowing that she was reborn, she was very happy and made up her mind to take away everything from her original body, Su's parents, her original husband, and her original opportunity. The husband of the original body was a young talent, rich, and even more handsome than a star. Su Xiaoru had long been interested in him and even seduced him, but unfortunately he looked down on her. Su Xiaoru believed that the reason why the husband of the original body chose the original body instead of her was because he was attracted by the original body's mysterious skills. If she also had this skill, the husband of the original body would definitely choose her. Therefore, Su Xiaoru did not go to the Su family to expose the facts and change her identity as soon as she came back after rebirth, but dripped blood on the jade pendant to recognize the master and obtain the inheritance on the jade pendant. Su Xiaoru was not as talented as her original body. It took her almost 2 years to practice the technique to small success. Then she ran out to show her skills, which allowed her to gain a foothold in the upper class. Then she came to the Su family to slap her in the face. In this life, because of her skills, Su's father, who puts interests first, chose her as his biological daughter. The husband of the original body in her previous life was also attracted to Su Xiaoru because of the mystery of metaphysics. Su Xiaoru is now a winner in life, but she is still not satisfied and is afraid that the original body will take everything back. After all, the husband of the original body loved the original body very much in the previous life, and the jade pendant was also passed down by the mother of the original body. Who knows if the jade pendant will be more recognized by blood inheritance. Therefore, Su Xiaoru hated the original body to disappear from this world. So, she took action against the original body and used the means of the Zuinmen to harm the original body. The original body was very pitiful. Her fate was stolen by Su Xiaoru, the reborn. The bright life ended before it was fully opened, and she lost her life inexplicably. After knowing the cause and effect of the matter, Su Qingni was very disgusted with Su Xiaoru, the reborn person, but she was quite interested in her jade slip. It was rare to see a jade slip that could shield the heavenly Dao. This should be some unknown formation or rune. When there is a chance, I will get this jade slip and study it. As for Su Xiaoru, oh, as long as the connection between the jade slit and her is broken, she will be immediately exposed to the heavenly Dao. Su Xiaoru recklessly leaked the secrets of heaven, and the heavenly Dao would definitely not let her go. Su Xiaoru would perish without Su Qingni's action. In order to prevent Su's mother from being sad because of Su Xiaoru's death, it is very necessary to let her have another child. Chapter 603 I Love Science 4. The next day, Su Qingni started making pills. Because the tools were not handy, Su Qingni spent many days to make 2 pills. Alice, she really missed the laboratory and pharmacy that Duke Toledo prepared for her. Su Qingni called Su's mother and they went shopping and had a meal together. Su Qingni took the opportunity to give the pills to Su's mother. After that, it was just waiting. I don't know if Su's mother and Su's father will have sex again. After all, Su's mother can't get pregnant and have children alone. When she returned home, Su Qingni's cell phone rang. The screen showed that the caller was the class teacher. Su Qingni then remembered that the original owner was still a senior high school student. She didn't go to school these days because there was still a month before the college entrance examination, and the school allowed students to review at home by themselves. Su Qingni, take the college entrance examination. Why can't the original body hold on for a while and die after the college entrance examination? Alice. Poor her, she has been away from school for a very, very long time, and she still has to take the college entrance examination. Su Qingni answered the phone, and the head teacher asked her to go to school to get the admission ticket. Su Qingni agreed, hung up the phone, and immediately took out the original textbooks, various tutoring materials and test papers, and began to review. The learning of the gods is different from that of ordinary people. It only took one night for Su Qingni to digest the knowledge points of all subjects. Whether it was tutoring materials or test papers, Su Qingni went through them all, and even completed Wu Sam from beginning to end. In this way, she had confidence in the college entrance examination. After breakfast, Su Qingni went to school. The fact that she was not the daughter of the Su family had spread in the school. On the birthday of the original body, she invited many classmates to the Su family to attend their birthday party. Those people saw Su Xiaoru coming to the door with their own eyes and heard with their own ears that Su Qingni was not a child of the Su family. Su Qingni entered the school and received all kinds of eyes. There were sympathetic, gloating, and disdainful. Su Qingni turned a blind eye and found the head teacher. The head teacher handed the admission ticket to Su Qingni and asked worriedly, Su Qingni, are you okay? Is your mood affected? Su Qingni's academic performance is very good. If her mood is affected by family affairs and she can't get good grades, her future will be affected. After all, she is no longer a daughter of the Su family. If she doesn't do well in the exam, she can still rely on the Su family. Now Su Qingni is just an orphan and can only rely on herself. Only by getting good grades and entering a good university can she have a good future. Su Qingni smiled and said to the teacher who really cared about her, Teacher, don't worry, my mentality has been adjusted. Just wait and wait, I will give you the title of the top scorer, so that you can get a promotion and a raise, and reach the peak of your life. Seeing that Su Qingni was still in the mood to joke, the head teacher was slightly relieved. She really thought Su Qingni was joking. Although the original body's grades were good, they were only ranked 20th or 30th in the grade. There are so many middle schools in the city. Add them together, the original body's grades are still unknown. First place in the exam? Dream on. The head teacher thought so, but she didn't know that Su Qingni was really not joking and gave her a huge surprise. After the college entrance examination results came out, Su Qingni not only ranked first in the city, but also first in the province. Reporters came to interview Su Qingni, and her life story of whether she was a real daughter was also reported, making everyone pay more attention to this college entrance examination champion. Su Xiaoru saw the news that Su Qingni became the top scorer in the college entrance examination on her mobile phone, and her face was full of disbelief. After she secretly gave Su Qingni a hand, she thought Su Qingni was dead, and then she didn't pay attention to Su Qingni. Unexpectedly, Su Qingni not only did not die, but also caused such a big incident. Top scorer in the college entrance examination. When Su's mother knew about it, she would definitely be very happy, right? I wonder if Su's father would call Su Qingni back to the Su family because of Su Qingni's face-saving incident? Damn. How can this person be the same as Xiaoqiang? Why is she not dead yet? Is she the girl of destiny? Is she a being protected by the way of heaven? I can't kill her, and I'll let her have more achievements than in her previous life? Su Qingni didn't get the title of top scorer in the college entrance examination in her previous life? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. This woman is so hateful and annoying. This time, she has to do her best to attack her. She can't be indifferent like the previous 2 times. She must see this woman die with her own eyes, and she must not let her jump in front of her again. How could she forget how tough this woman's life is? In her previous life, she was kidnapped by human traffickers and rolled off a cliff, but she didn't die. How could she die so easily in this life? Su Xiaoru's eyes were full of murderous intent. Mother Su was really happy. Her adopted daughter turned out to be the top scorer in the college entrance examination. What does this show? It shows that she was well educated. This is the greatest praise for her as a mother. Mother Su happily shared the good news with Mrs. Zhang. Mrs. Zhang watched the original body grow up, and she was very happy to hear the news. I'll go and make some dishes that Miss Qingni likes. Mrs. Zhang said, the college entrance examination is very tiring. Miss Qingni may have lost weight due to exhaustion. You're right. Mother Su nodded repeatedly. I'll call Qingni and ask her to come over for dinner. I'll also call old son and ask him to hold a celebration banquet for Qingni. Mother Su went to get her phone. She turned around a little too much and her body began to shake, about to fall. Mrs. Zhang quickly supported Mother Su and asked with concern, Madam, what's wrong with you? I feel a little dizzy. Mother Su fainted all of a sudden after she finished speaking. Mrs. Zhang was frightened and quickly helped Mother Su lie down on the sofa. She called the family doctor and asked him to come quickly. She called Father Su and Su Xiaoru and told them about Mother Su's fainting. When Father Su heard that the family doctor had been called, he said that he had to work and would not go home for the time being. He would tell him after the family doctor had made a conclusion. Su Xiaoru also wanted to pretend to be a filial daughter in front of Mother Su, so she rushed to the Su family after hearing the news. As soon as she entered the Su family's door, Su Xiaoru heard Su's mother's incredulous voice, Are you telling the truth? Would I lie to you? This was the voice of the family doctor. Then she heard Su's mother laughing happily, and eagerly asked Mrs. Zhang to call Su's father. She wanted to tell him the good news. Su Xiaoru raised her eyebrows. What good news is there in the Su family? Apart from Su Qingni becoming the top scorer in the college entrance examination, there should be no good news during this period of time, right? Then, she heard Su's mother's extremely surprised voice, Husband, I'm pregnant. She scratched her ears. What did she hear? Could it be an auditory hallucination? Su's mother's voice came into her ears word for word, Husband, Dr. Li has diagnosed me. I am really pregnant. It has been a month. Chapter 604 I Love Science 5. Pregnant? Mother Su is pregnant? Exclamation mark. How is it possible? How could Mother Su be pregnant? She is over 40 years old, and she can still be pregnant? In her previous life, Mother Su didn't have this experience? Why did this happen in this life? Is this the butterfly effect of her rebirth? But it shouldn't be. Mother Su's body is there, even if she is bitten by a butterfly, she can't be pregnant, right? Su Xiaoru's face is ferocious. No, the Su family can only be hers, and she can only have one child, and absolutely no more children. Su Xiaoru looked at Mother Su in the living room, her eyes full of malice. Mother Su found Su Xiaoru at this time and greeted her happily. Xiaoru, you are going to be a sister, are you happy? Happy? Su Xiaoru forced a smile, and her smile was so bright that Mother Su didn't even notice the viciousness under that brightness. Father Su knew that Mother Su was pregnant, and he rarely put down his work and ran home to see Mother Su. Father Su has always wanted to have a son, and now he has 50% hope, and he attaches great importance to Mother Su's belly. Did you say that Father Su found other women to give him sons? Of course there were, but I don't know what happened. None of the women Father Su found got pregnant. Later, one of them got pregnant, and Father Su was very happy but cautious, and did a paternity test for the child and himself. It turned out that the child was not his, and his little kinger gave him a straw-colored hat. After that, Father Su thought that it was impossible for him to have children because of his physical problems, so he dismissed the women outside. He didn't attach much importance to women, and he kept women outside to give birth to sons. Since he couldn't give birth, what was the point of keeping these women? When he heard that Mother Su was pregnant, Father Su was also skeptical at first, but thinking of Mother Su's age and her usual activities, Father Su denied the possibility that Mother Su gave him a straw-colored hat. Therefore, he was very much looking forward to the child in Mother Su's belly. Su Xiaoru saw Father Su's performance and became even angrier, and she wanted to get rid of the child in Mother Su's belly. Su's mother happily said to Su's father, "Today is a double celebration. I'm pregnant, and Qingni has become the provincial champion in the college entrance examination. We must celebrate." Su's father nodded. His adopted daughter became the champion in the college entrance examination, which made him proud. He said, "Call Qingni and ask her to come home for dinner." Su's mother smiled and said, "I have already called Qingni, and asked Mrs. Zhang to cook the dishes that Qingni likes." Su's father smiled and said, "This child has lived up to your teachings and is very good. When our son is born in the future, you will have to teach him." Su's mother smiled, "Of course, I will let this child learn from his sister and become as good as his sister." The couple talked happily, and Su Xiaoru became more and more upset and annoyed. She originally wanted to let the couple be happy for a while before getting rid of the meat in Su's mother's belly, but she couldn't bear it anymore. When Su Qingni came, she would take action, just in time to let Su Qingni take the blame. Humph, when the time comes, Su's father will definitely not forgive Su Qingni, and even Su's mother will blame Su Qingni. Without Su's mother as a backer, Su Qingni would still be at the mercy of others. The doorbell rang, and Mrs. Zhang opened the door and said happily, "Miss Qingni, come in." Su Qingni saw the big smile on Mrs. Zhang's face and was very curious. If she was just happy that she became the provincial college entrance examination champion, she would not smile like this, so she asked, "Mrs. Zhang, is there anything good happening at home?" She had a guess in her mind. Mrs. Zhang did not explain Su Qingni's doubts, but smiled and said, "Go ask your wife. This good news should be told to you by your wife herself." Su Qingni understood, and her guess was right. Su Qingni walked into the living room with a smile, greeted Su's father politely, and then walked to Su's mother and asked, "And, what good thing happened?" Su's mother happily took Su Qingni's hands and said with a smile, "Qingni, you are going to be a sister." "Really?" Su Qingni showed a pleasant smile, "That's great, and, congratulations." Su's mother smiled and said, "Let's celebrate today, celebrate my pregnancy, and celebrate your becoming the top scorer in the college entrance examination." The chef prepared a large table of dishes, half of which were the original body's favorites. While eating, Su's father praised Su Qingni and said that he would hold a celebration banquet for her, but Su Qingni refused, saying that Su's mother had just become pregnant and should take good care of the fetus and not be too tired. Originally, Su's father was a little unhappy about being rejected, but after hearing the reason Su Qingni said later, his unhappiness disappeared. He felt that Su Qingni was indeed well-behaved and considerate, and worthy of being a child raised by the Su family for 18 years. Oh, if only she were the one with the ability of the mysterious door. Although Father Su chose Su Xiaoru, his biological daughter, for the sake of profit, he looked down on Su Xiaoru in his heart. As an old fox who has been fighting in the business world for half his life, Father Su is not lacking in vision. Father Su saw clearly what Su Xiaoru's nature was like. She was a selfish, vicious, petty-minded woman with no sense of the overall situation. She did not have the upbringing of a girl from an aristocratic family. If Su Xiaoru had not learned powerful skills, he really did not want to recognize such a daughter. Su Xiaoru did not speak the whole time. She looked at Su Qingni and Su's mother with cold eyes. When others noticed her, she smiled again. It's just that she was not fast enough to change her expression. Father Su saw how she changed her face several times. Father Su couldn't help but be alert. Would Su Xiaoru do anything to Su's mother's belly? This is very likely. Su Xiaoru would ask her father to drive Su Qingni out of the Su family because she was jealous of Su Qingni and thought that Su Qingni had robbed her of 18 years of her life. It is also very likely that she would murder the baby in Su's mother's belly in order to monopolize the Su family's property, leaving the Su family with only her child. Su's father frowned. Zuimin's methods are hard to guard against. How can he protect the baby in Su's mother's belly? How about sending Su Xiaoru away for a while, letting her go to other places for a while, so that she can focus on others? Doesn't Su Xiaoru have feelings for the boy from the Qin family? Then use the boy from the Qin family to lure her away. Su's father was on guard against Su Xiaoru, but he didn't know that Su Xiaoru had already taken action on Su's mother's belly. Su Qingni noticed that Su Xiaoru had taken action. After more than a month of training, Su Qingni's strength has increased a lot, surpassing Su Xiaoru. Su Xiaoru's aptitude was not as good as her original body, and she indulged in pleasure. After she achieved a small success in magic, she stopped working hard to practice, and her strength never improved. When Su Xiaoru attacked, she immediately noticed it and immediately blocked Su Xiaoru's attack. In order to prevent Su Xiaoru from noticing something was wrong and causing trouble for her mother, Su Qingni silently resolved the attack and did not rebound the attack to let Su Xiaoru notice it. Chapter 605 I Love Science VI. Su Xiaoru thought she had succeeded, so she waited for her mother to have a miscarriage, and then she would put the blame on Su Qingni. Su Qingni remained calm, moving her fingers under the table, drawing a protective spell and hitting Su's mother. This spell can protect the child in the belly from growing up healthily and safely in Su's mother's belly. No matter how many spells or physical attacks Su Xiaoru uses, she cannot harm the child. However, since Su Xiaoru wanted to see herself cause her mother to have a miscarriage, how could she disappoint her? It just so happened that she could take the opportunity to sever ties with the Su family. Although Su's mother was very good to the original body, Su's mother loved the child she gave birth to and raised herself more. In the future, the child in her belly would occupy all her time, and she would gradually become estranged from Su Qingni. In this case, it would be better to be estranged now, mainly because Su Qingni did not want to be involved with the Su family, and she did not want to be a pawn that Su's father could use. Now Su Qingni has value, who knows how Su's father will calculate her. Su Qingni moved her fingers and drew another talisman to hit Su's mother. This talisman can make Su's mother show signs of miscarriage, but it will not harm the child. After the meal, Su Qingni, as a good girl, naturally went forward to support Su's mother and helped her walk to the living room. At this time, Su Xiaoru made another move. Su Qingni felt a cold force hitting her knees. She fell forward as Su Xiaoru had planned, and took Su's mother with her. However, Su Qingni felt guilty that Su's mother had suffered an unexpected disaster, so she cushioned Su's mother's body to prevent Su's mother from being injured. "Ah, my belly!" Su's mother cried while holding her belly. Su's father was shocked and hurriedly picked up Su's mother, and repeatedly told Mrs. Zhang to call the family doctor back home. Su Qingni got up from the ground and apologized at a loss. "I'm sorry, I don't know how I fell down, and I also implicated my aunt." Su's father looked at Su Qingni deeply. He knew that it was Su Xiaoru who did it. But he couldn't expose it, let alone scold Su Xiaoru, so he could only let Su Qingni take the blame. "Get out of the Su family, there will be no you in our Su family in the future." Su's father yelled at Su Qingni, "You'd better pray that Zukin's stomach is fine. If there's anything now, I will never let you go." I'm sorry. Su Qingni seemed to be very scared, and was also scolded miserably by Su's father. The little girl couldn't stand it and ran out of the Su family. Su Xiaoru curled her lips slightly. How could an ordinary person like Su Qingni fight her? Now it's just an appetizer. Wait, Su Qingni, wait until she completely solves the child in Su's mother's belly, and then treat Su Qingni well. The family doctor arrived soon. After some operations, Su's mother's stomach no longer hurt, and the original signs of miscarriage also stopped. Su's mother breathed a sigh of relief, and while she was thankful, she couldn't help but complain about Su Qingni. If Su Qingni hadn't been careless, how could she have fallen, and how could she have almost lost the child? Su's mother's mother-daughter love for Su Qingni gradually faded, and she gave all her motherly love to the child in her belly. When Su Xiaoru heard that the child was saved, her eyes almost popped out. How is it possible? He was actually saved? Is this child a cockroach like Su Qingni? Can't even the talisman kill him? Damn it! Su Xiaoru's heart and eyes were full of malice, which made Su's father, who was secretly watching her, shudder. This daughter. Su's father clenched his fists and suppressed some of the calculations in his heart. This girl's ability is too powerful, and he can't fall out with his daughter unless he is absolutely sure. Even if he sacrifices his son. Su's father covered his chest. It hurts here. Su Qingni returned home. In the next few days, she did not receive a call from Su's mother. She knew that Su's mother blamed her for that incident and did not like her. Su Qingni felt a little sad about this. Of course, this was the original owner's emotion. Su Qingni had expected it. After the original owner's emotions disappeared, Su Qingni began to pack her luggage and prepared to leave the city and go to the city where the school was located. After buying thank you gifts for the high school class teacher and teachers of various subjects, Su Qingni went to the teachers' homes in person to thank them, and said that she was alone and did not have much money, so she did not plan to hold a thank you banquet for the teachers. Please forgive the teachers. Of course, the teachers forgave her. Not to mention that they knew Su Qingni's life experience, they would not be angry with Su Qingni if Su Qingni passed the provincial championship and made them proud and doubled their bonuses. Su Qingni left the city with a few sets of clothes. Before leaving, she sent all the keys to the house where she lived and the bank card given to her by Su's mother to Su's father by registered mail. Now, Su Qingni is a poor man again. Fortunately, the world she lives in is modern, not ancient. Hacking and programming techniques are used again, which makes money for Su Qingni. Su Qingni came to the university. Although it was summer vacation, there were still many people in the school because there were still students who would not go home. Su Qingni found a female student who seemed to be enthusiastic and gossipy. She chatted with her for a while and got a lot of information about the school and the area around the school from her. Based on the female classmate's description of the environment near the school, Su Qingni found a house and rented it. The house also has one bedroom and one living room, which is similar to the layout of the house Su Qingni lived in before. It has been simply decorated and furnished. As long as you buy bedding, you can move in with your luggage. After paying the deposit and rent to the landlord, Su Qingni moved into the house. On the first and second days, Su Qingni bought household items and daily necessities and decorated her small home. From the third day, Su Qingni went to the university library every day. She had already thought about it. In this world dominated by fantasy, she wanted to establish a personality of loving science for herself. Let Su Xianru be her fantasy master, and she will be a scientist. Su Qingni spread out her hand, and in the palm of her hand was a roughly carved jade pendant. It was the one that Su Xianru carried with her, and Su Qingni got the jade pendant from Su Xianru before leaving. Su Qingni studied the jade pendant, and sure enough, the jade pendant was engraved with a formation that Su Qingni had never seen before. It was this formation that helped the owner of the jade pendant resist the investigation of the heavenly Dao. Su Qingni has now studied the formation thoroughly, and the jade pendant is no longer useful. Su Qingni closed her fingers and clenched them into a fist, and she crushed the jade pendant into powder. She opened her fist, and the powder fell from the gaps between her fingers, mixed with a tiny drop of blood. This blood drop naturally belongs to Su Xianru. Chapter 606 I Love Science 7. Whether it was the original owner of the previous life or Su Xianru in this life, they relied on the cover of the jade pendant to be able to use the Zuinman hand selection without any drawbacks and unscrupulously disclose the secrets of heaven. Su Xianru was even worse. She even used Zuinman means to harm people. Now without the cover of the jade pendant, Su Xianru is completely exposed to the way of heaven, and God's punishment for her will fall on her. Sweeping the dust on the floor into the trash can, Su Qingni patted her clothes and set off for the library. Even during the summer vacation, there were many people in the library, all of whom were good students who were eager to learn. As a great god and having traveled through so many worlds, Su Qingni's knowledge in her mind would only be more than the knowledge in the library's collection. Now coming to the library to read books is just a perfect excuse for her to suddenly show her talent in the future. Su Qingni found a book on electronic components and started reading. She read very quickly and could finish a book in one day. This speed made the people reading next to her doubt whether this classmate had read the book. Before school started, Su Qingni had almost finished reading all the books related to electronic components. The day before school started, Su Qingni followed a route shown on the city map to the city's largest electronic wholesale market and bought a lot of components and materials. The next day, the school started registration. Su Qingni took the admission letter to register, a series of physical examinations, payment, and dormitory search. The school stipulates that freshmen must live on campus in the first semester. Su Qingni could only choose a 4-person dormitory and pay the accommodation fee. Waiting for the process, it was very tiring. When Su Qingni arrived at the dormitory, the other roommates had not arrived yet. Su Qingni found her bed, made the bed, and left. When she returned home, Su Qingni took out the materials and components for assembly. The next day, Su Qingni returned to the dormitory, and the other 3 people in the dormitory had already arrived. The 4 people introduced each other. None of them were locals, but from other provinces. Among the other 3 people, Ji Xiaotong was a girl from the north. She was very tall and had a good figure. She looked like she came from a good family. Her clothes were all branded goods, and she knew how to put on makeup. She was a big beauty. She had a very cheerful personality and was not at all shy about saying that her family relied on her sister's mistress to get to the top. Yan Susu and Zhang Yun are both southern girls. Yan Susu comes from the Jiangnan water town. She is full of poetry and speaks softly. Her family conditions should be the best among the 4 people. It seems that her family has some power in the local area. Zhang Yun comes from Guangxi, which is further south. She is pretty and hot-tempered, like a little pepper. At first impression, everyone has a good impression of each other. There is no princess syndrome patient or hatred of the rich among the 4 people, and everyone gets along relatively harmoniously. Su Qingni had a good chat with the 3 girls. The 3 of them took out the local specialties they brought from their hometowns to treat others. Su Qingni didn't have any local specialties, so she said that she would invite the 3 people to eat outside the school for lunch and eat the local specialty, roast duck. Qingni, where's your gift? Why don't you see it? Zhang Yun asked curiously. Su Qingni ate the fried rice candy brought by Zhang Yun and replied, I rented a house outside the school and put all the gifts there. Huh? Why did you rent a house outside the school? Are you not used to living in the dormitory? Ji Xiaotong asked. How do I rent a house outside the school? How much rent do I have to pay every month? This is what Yan Susu asked. I need to do experiments and handicrafts, and my dormitory is too small to accommodate my tools and materials, so I have to rent a house outside. Su Qingni answered Ji Xiaotong and Yan Susu's questions. I rent a 1-bedroom apartment for 3,500 yuan a month. The environment is good and the interior is simply decorated. It's only 5 minutes away from the school. That's good. Yan Susu pinched her chin and said, I want to rent one too. Su Qingni, can you help me keep an eye out for houses for rent? Okay. Su Qingni agreed, but you have to live on campus in the first semester of your freshman year. Are you sure you want to rent a house now? Yan Susu nodded, sure, I can live there on weekends. I also need to buy a lot of things, and the dormitory is too small to fit them all. Zhang Yun hurriedly said, then help me find a rental house. Ji Xiaotong looked at this and that, and laughed. You all don't want to live in the dormitory, then the dormitory will become my world alone? Haha, then I can do whatever I want. Su Qingni smiled and said, don't be complacent. When we move out of the dormitory, we will definitely give up our beds. At that time, the dormitory management teacher may let other people move into the dormitory. Ji Xiaotong, then I will move out too. Su Qingni, help me find a house, preferably next to yours. Zhang Yun nodded, the same goes for mine. It would be best if we could go to school and go home together. Yan Susu smiled, are you an elementary school student? And you still go to school and go home together? The 4 of us are in different majors and have different course schedules. How can we go to school and go home together? Zhang Yun, will we become more and more unfamiliar? We can't be friends anymore. Su Qingni said, we are friends now. We can go shopping and eat barbecue together on weekends in the future to keep in touch? You are right. Yan Susu gave her a thumbs up. The 4 of them have good personalities, they get along well, and they all really want to make friends. Even if they can't be roommates, it's not bad to be besties. Military training will be held a week after school starts. After the half-month military training, classes will officially begin. However, freshmen only take some basic courses, not many professional courses. The teachers who taught them professional courses were not professors, but lecturers. They mainly taught classes and rarely participated in scientific research projects. Su Qingni found these teachers, but there was no way to sell the gadgets she made. So, Su Qingni looked up the information of the professors in the major, selected a professor, and went directly to the professor's house to recommend herself. The old professor encouraged the students who were not afraid of tigers, and did not care too much about what they brought. Then the professor was slapped in the face. Su Qingni took out a little thing she made. Professor, this is a universal voice translator I made myself. Universal translator. The professor was a little surprised when he heard the name. You made it yourself. Su Qingni nodded, well, I studied some information about the universal translator released by Riot, and then made some changes to make this universal translator that is completely different from the one released by Riot. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 607 I Love Science 8. More than that, the universal translator made by Su Qingni is much more advanced than the universal translator of Riot Games. It can not only realize simultaneous translation, but also translate languages from all over the world, even dialects and slangs from some small places, and professional terms from various professions, which are also translated very well. In fact, there are many languages that Professor Hong does not know in this translator. Professor Hong asked Su Qingni one by one. There is no way, he is a professor of electronic technology, not language. Su Qingni answered one by one. The first few hundred are okay, they are still languages on Earth, but the last few. Which region's language is this? The language of Takal. Where? Professor Hong scratched his ears. Takal star is in the 9th star field of the Milky Way. Professor Hong said with a wooden face, which planet's language is this? Dwarf star, the aliens there are all dwarfs. What about this one? Cheyenne B star. The aliens on this planet have sharp eyes like eagles. Professor Hong. Professor Hong, young man, you can't take things in science fiction seriously. Read less comics in the future. Su Qingni, Professor, what I said is true. However, these alien lives are from another world. I just don't know if there are the same aliens in this world. How about building a spacecraft to look for the coordinates of their planets? She still misses the time when she was the highest commander of the galactic fleet. Putting aside those messy alien languages, 30 years later, when the Earth is connected with alien civilization, Professor Hong realized that the little girl who ran to him and recommended herself was not messing around, but really understood alien languages. Professor Hong suspected that Su Qingni was an alien disguised as an Earthling. Maybe her experience was the same as Superman's. She escaped to the Earth and was raised by Earthlings. The universal translator was really powerful, advanced and practical enough. Professor Hong attached great importance to it and immediately took Su Qingni to meet the dean and another national-level scientist professor in the school. The leaders and professors also attached great importance to this universal translator, and they attached even more importance to Su Qingni, the talent who could make the universal translator. Although Su Qingni was too young, the professors had no doubts. There were so many geniuses in the world, and they had seen many of them. It was not surprising that there were more outstanding geniuses now. Su Qingni walked into the eyes of the big guys, and since then she had much freedom in the school. The professors felt that Su Qingni's mastery of knowledge and ability would be a waste of her qualifications if she started from the basic courses step by step like other students, so they gave her the right to freely choose her classes. Professor Hong even directly assigned Su Qingni to his name and asked Su Qingni to take the professional exam quickly and get her diploma so that she could become a graduate student under him and join his project team. Su Qingni was very grateful for this and applied for graduation. In order to protect such a talented seedling, the school did not announce Su Qingni's application for graduation. Even her 3 roommates did not know that Su Qingni had applied for graduation after only taking classes for more than a month. Although she applied for graduation, the exam had to be taken at the end of the semester. In the remaining months, Su Qingni was still a freshman and had to live the same study life as other freshmen. However, Su Qingni had already mastered the knowledge of professional courses. In the remaining months, Su Qingni did not go to class, but stayed in the library again. However, this time, she did not read books related to electronic technology, but read all kinds of books, and occasionally went to other majors for free classes. Professor Hong criticized Su Qingni for this behavior of not doing her job properly. Su Qingni humbly accepted the criticism but refused to repent. Professor Hong had no way to deal with this. Although this child read books on other majors, he did not fall behind in the study of his major. He could only turn a blind eye. The school helped Su Qingni apply for a patent for the universal translator. Su Qingni returned the favor by giving the school the manufacturing drawings and technology of the universal translator. The school contacted companies to manufacture and sell universal translators, and gave Su Qingni a 10% bonus. Now Su Qingni no longer needs to take hacker skills to make money. She has become a rich person again. At the end of the semester, Su Qingni took dozens of exams in one go, passed them all with full marks, successfully obtained a diploma, and became a graduate student under Professor Hong. The other 3 people in the dormitory also moved out of the dormitory. It was also luck that the building where Su Qingni rented happened to have 3 houses for rent. Su Qingni called Yan Suso and the other 2 and rented those 3 houses. After the 3 of them moved, they immediately packed their luggage and went home for the new year. It was impossible for Su Qingni to go back to the Su family, but it did not prevent her from asking about the news of the Su family. Sure enough, without the jade pendant to cover up, Su Xiaoru's 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings were revealed. However, she herself had not discovered this, and still unscrupulously used Zuiman methods to leak the secrets of heaven and secretly harm those who did not deal with her. Su Xiaoru just felt that she was unlucky these days, always losing things or money for no reason. However, the amount of loss was not much, and it was just a small matter for her, a rich girl, and she didn't care too much. She didn't know that this was the lack of money of the 3 deficiencies that had already taken effect on her. Now it's just a small amount of money, and with Su Xiaoru's unrestrained actions, she will only lack more and more. What Su Xiaoru is most upset about now is that no matter how she attacks Su's mother's belly, the child in the belly is as firmly in her mother's belly as Nezha, and no matter whether it is magic or physical damage, she can't get rid of the child. This made Su Xiaoru very upset, and she put all her energy into dealing with her mother's belly. She didn't notice that Qin Zhanghua, who was originally interested in her, was already alienating her. Even when he was having dinner with her, he was full of impatience and perfunctory. Qin Zhanghua is the husband of the original owner in her previous life. In this life, Su Xiaoru attracted Qin Zhanghua's interest with her mysterious metaphysical master. Qin Zhanghua saw that Su Xiaoru was good-looking, had a good family background, and had her own metaphysical skills and could help him. He liked Su Xiaoru very much and wanted to marry Su Xiaoru as his wife. But after a long time of contact, Qin Zhanghua saw through Su Xiaoru's nature and lost his favor for her. If it weren't for the fact that Su Xiaoru could help him, Qin Zhanghua really didn't want to contact Su Xiaoru anymore. Neither of them knew that this was actually the lonely item among the 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies that began to take effect. Chapter 608 I Love Science IX. At the beginning of the 2nd semester, Su Qingni officially became a graduate student under Professor Hong and entered Professor Hong's laboratory. Su Qingni was very busy. In addition to studying with Professor Hong and completing the tasks assigned by Professor Hong, Su Qingni began to tinker with things as soon as she had free time. Professor Hong was very curious about this but full of expectations. He wondered if this student with a brainwave would come up with something good for the first time. Su Qingni grinned, "Just wait, I'm sure I'll be able to make something good that will surprise you." Su Qingni didn't finish the work so quickly this time. She wanted to take it easy and not get the finished product out too quickly. It's okay to be more talented than others, but it's not good to be too evil. It took 2.5 years, and just when Professor Hong lost interest in Su Qingni's tinkering, Su Qingni finally came up with a finished product. "What is this?" Professor Hong asked when he saw the student put something like a Bluetooth headset in front of him. "Are these new models?" Su Qingni rolled her eyes. "How could I put such a low-quality thing in front of you?" Professor Hong laughed. "Just kidding. What on earth is this thing?" "Consciousness connector, also called thinking connector," Su Qingni said in a very calm tone. "What?" Professor Hong couldn't be calm anymore. "What do you say this is?" "Consciousness connector," Su Qingni said. "With this thing, human thinking can be connected to the internet. Well, holographic online games are no longer a dream in the future." Professor Hong panted heavily. "This student is a student who will make a big splash if he doesn't make a name for himself. You come with me to see the dean." Professor Hong picked up the gadget on the table with trembling hands and stood up tremblingly. His legs were weak and he almost fell back. Su Qingni quickly reached out to support the old man. "Alice, he is old and can't stand being scared." Professor Hong was not the only one who was shocked. Many bigwigs in the school were shocked by Su Qingni's invention. The consciousness connector, which only exists in science fiction novels, was actually made. The school leaders quickly reported the matter to the country. A few days later, Su Qingni was picked up. The school not only issued Su Qingni a master's degree certificate but also a doctoral degree certificate. The country attaches great importance to Su Qingni, a young genius, and set up a laboratory for her. What surprised everyone was that Su Qingni did not pursue the research of holographic technology, but instead went across disciplines to study biomedicine. Su Qingni said to everyone, "I have already completed the most difficult part of the mind connector. The rest of the holographic online games are too unchallenging, so don't come to me. I want to do something more challenging." Everyone. Well, geniuses are so willful. They could only let it go, but they also said that if Su Qingni could not research anything, she would have to return to her original research in electronic technology, otherwise she would no longer be given funding for her laboratory. Su Qingni bargained with them and finally got a 2-year time limit. After Su Qingni threw out the mind connector, she no longer cared about the rest. Holographic projection technology has been very effective in modern times. It didn't take long for holographic online games to appear in front of the public and won the pursuit of the whole people. Even the elderly want to go into the holographic world to have a look. Instead of fighting monsters, they can enjoy different scenery. Su Qingni was completely confused. Holographic online games appeared? It must be fake, right? You know, when she died in her previous life, there was no holographic online game. How come after rebirth, holographic online games actually exist? Su Qingni couldn't help but wonder if she was reborn or traveled to a similar parallel world. Although shocked, Su Qingni had no interest in holographic online games. In fact, there are still some, but now she is too busy to take care of herself, so even if she is interested, she has no time to play. Su's mother gave birth to a son safely. Now Su's mother and father focus all their attention on their son and completely ignore Su Qingni. Even Su's father used to please Su Qingni in various ways, but after having a son, although he still pleases her, he will not give her money without a limit. Su Qingni hated this brother so much that she kept using spells and charms on the baby after he was born. She thought that children were very fragile and a small spell could take the child's life. As a result, no matter what kind of spell she used, she could not hurt the child, and Su's father and mother watched the baby very closely, so even if she wanted to steal the baby out and throw it away, she had no way to do it. Su Qingni couldn't help but wonder, is this brother the child of destiny, the real protagonist? Su Qingni hides her merits and fame. When the child was born, she secretly came back and put several layers of protection on the baby. Su Qingni can't hurt the baby. Su Qingni was very upset because she couldn't kill the baby's brother. What was even more upsetting was that she found out that her boyfriend, Niangniang, who was devoted to Su Qingni in his previous life, had cheated on her and found a mistress. Although she used a spell to disfigure the mistress and broke one of her legs, she couldn't get rid of the frustration in her heart. Why was Niangniang devoted to Su Qingni but was fickle to her? Su Qingni wanted to punish Niangniang, but she couldn't do it. After all, Niangniang was her lifelong obsession. She wanted to be Niangniang as woman, but now, she was not Niangniang as woman. What if she fell out with Niangniang and he didn't marry her? In addition to the above two troubles, she has been losing money more frequently recently, and the amount is getting bigger and bigger. She just made a reward of tens of millions, and the stock market was turbulent. All the funds she invested were gone. It was more than 10 million, but she lost 30 million. So she withdrew from the stock market and bought real estate. As a result, the house she bought was a shoddy construction and collapsed all of a sudden. The developer ran away, and the money she spent on the house was wasted again. With so many things happening, how could Su Qingni have the energy to play holographic games? She also discovered that the reason she encountered bad luck so frequently was because the 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings that people in the Zuinman must encounter had come to her. But why did they come to her? Obviously, she had used the Zuinman magic so wantonly before, and the 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings would not come to her. Obviously, in her previous life, Su Qingni had been using the Zuinman magic all the time, and she lived happily until old age, with her parents doting on her, her husband loving her, and her children around her. Why didn't it work for her? When did the 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings come to her? Chapter 609 I Love Science 10. When did the 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies start to find her? It was when the jade pendant disappeared. Su Qingni remembered. When the jade pendant disappeared, she had been nervously looking for it for a long time, and even used divination to calculate the whereabouts of the jade pendant, but she found nothing. However, She found that the disappearance of the jade pendant had no effect on her, so she stopped looking for it. She thought that the jade pendant was a carrier that recorded the inheritance of Zuinman. Now that she had learned the Zuinman exercises, the jade pendant was no longer useful to her. However, after a while, she suddenly felt a pain in her heart one day, as if she had lost contact with something. Now think about it, it should be the jade pendant, right? It turns out that the jade pendant not only records the inheritance, but also protects the owner from the troubles of the 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies. No, she must find the jade pendant. Su Qingni mobilized all her connections and asked people to help her find the jade pendant. This matter spread, and many people had little ideas. The jade pendant that even the Heavenly Master wanted must be a good treasure, right? If their family got that treasure. Many people took action just to find a jade pendant. Unfortunately, no one knows that such a jade pendant no longer exists in the world. There is only a small jade lock. Su Qingni crushed the jade pendant, but she couldn't let the inheritance of the Zuinman skills inside be cut off, right? After all, it was left by the mother of this body. Su Qingni simply made a jade lock, transferred the inheritance and the jade pendant to the jade lock, and waited for the destined person to learn the inheritance from it. However, Su Qingni did not engrave the formation that concealed the secrets of heaven on the jade lock. The way of heaven is fair, and it is not advisable to try to escape the judgment of heaven by means. Even if the people of Zuinman have 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings, as long as they do things according to rules and use the Zuinman technique to do good things, it is not a bad thing, and the punishment for the 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings will be much lighter. If they do more good things and help more people, they will also get merits, and merits can bless the people of Zuinman to have a good rebirth in the next life. In this life, she used unorthodox methods to cover up the investigation of the heavenly way. After death, there would be no props to cover up. Everything she had done would be exposed to the underworld and the heavenly way. Even if she had merits, she would be punished by the heavenly way and reincarnated. As the saying goes, good and evil will be rewarded in the end, and the heavenly way is good. If you don't believe it, look up and see who the heaven has spared. People should not be self-righteous and think that they have deceived the heaven, but they don't know that they will be exposed sooner or later. Su Qingni will never be able to find the jade pendant again. Her 5 disadvantages and 3 shortcomings are getting worse and worse. Su Qingni is not like the original owner. The original owner is kind-hearted and principled. She uses Zuinman magic to help others. She earns merits and never does bad things. For those who deserve the punishment and deserve to be retaliated, the original owner will not help those people for money, but will only persuade those people to admit their mistakes and accept punishment quickly. However, Su Qingni is different from the original owner. For money, she has helped many such black-hearted people. Moreover, she also harmed many people who she disliked or felt would stand in her way. From the fact that she killed the original owner and tried to abort Su's mother's belly by any means, we can know how evil and unscrupulous this woman is. Su Qingni has no merits at all, only slowly accumulating bad karma. The way of heaven is disgusted by such a person, not to mention that this woman keeps leaking the secrets of heaven. How could heaven be polite? The biggest gift package of 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies was given to Su Qingni. People in the Zuinman encounter 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies. The minor ones are just one of them. For example, a person is lonely until old, but he has no lack of money, and his hands and feet are healthy and live a long life. Such a life is not bad. The more serious ones will encounter 2 or 3, but like Su Qingni, almost all 5 disadvantages and 3 deficiencies have befallen her, not one. When Su's younger brother was 4 years old, Su Qingni received a call from Su's mother, asking her to attend Su's father's 50th birthday. Su Qingni was also thinking of taking a break for a while, so she agreed to Su's mother. The two chatted on the phone for a while, but their tone had become much more distant, and there was no longer the intimacy between mother and daughter. The topic of Su's mother's chat was all about her younger brother. Now her younger brother is the whole focus of her life. Su's mother no longer cares about her 2 daughters. Su Qingni gave everyone in her laboratory a holiday and returned to the city where the Su family lived with 2 bodyguards. She didn't go to the Su family until the day when Su's father held a birthday party. Su Qingni asked the 2 bodyguards to wait for her outside the villa area. She didn't want Su's father to know her current value. Although the original body is already an adult, if Su's father relies on the grace of raising her to talk about things, Su Qingni really has no good way to deal with him. After all, filial piety is still very valued in this world. Su Xiaoru saw Su Qingni coming, and her eyes were full of fire. She really couldn't understand why she couldn't kill Su Qingni. Su Qingni was just like her annoying brother. Seeing that Su Qingni was alone, Su Xiaoru's eyes turned and an idea came to her mind. Since the mysterious arts had no effect on Su Qingni, what about human intervention? In the last life, she could bribe the traffickers to kidnap Su Qingni, and she could do it in this life. But this time, she would not let Su Qingni live. She would discard the idea of selling her to the mountains to be someone's wife. This person was a coward. Selling her would give her a chance to escape. It would be best to kill her directly after kidnapping her. Su Xiaoru snorted coldly. She didn't believe that Su Qingni could still be alive. Su Qingni felt Su Xiaoru's malice, and the corners of her mouth slightly raised. She cast a rebound spell. If Su Xiaoru wanted to attack herself, she would have to bear the consequences of attacking herself. Su Qingni went to see Su's father and mother. She had nothing to say to Su's father. She only said a word of congratulations and left Su's father. Su's mother seemed very close to Su Qingni. It had been 4 years since the near miscarriage. Su's mother no longer complained about Su Qingni, but the 4 years of separation made her a little unsure how to restore the relationship with her adopted daughter, who had changed a lot. Su's mother took Su Qingni and asked her about many things at school. She said some caring words and asked her younger brother to call Su Qingni sister. Su's younger brother was very cute and chubby, which made Su Qingni's hands eager to move. As if sensing Su Qingni's malice, the little guy covered his cheek and got into Su's mother's arms and never came out. Su Qingni met Qin Zhanghua, her husband in her original life and Su Xiaoru's current boyfriend. Qin Zhanghua was stunned when he saw Su Qingni. He felt that he seemed to have lost something. Su Xiaoru pulled Qin Zhanghua's arm hard and stared at Su Qingni vigilantly. Su Qingni smiled provocatively at Su Xiaoru. Chapter 610 I Love Science Xi. Su Qingni gave Su Xiaoru a provocative smile. Su Xiaoru's eyes were blazing with anger, and she wanted to kill this annoying woman right now. After the banquet, Su Qingni declined Su's mother's invitation to let her stay at Su's house, left the villa area, and returned to the car driven by 2 bodyguards. I will stay in City A for 2 more days. Su Qingni said to the 2 bodyguards, you just follow me secretly these days and don't show up. The 2 bodyguards are a man and a woman, both of whom are very skilled and have good personalities. They get along with Su Qingni like friends. Hearing Su Qingni's instructions, both of them felt that something was fishy. They didn't know what Su Qingni was going to do. Although she is a serious and rigid scientist in front of outsiders, but peeling off the surface, this girl is very smart and ancient. So, the female bodyguard Cheng Hong asked, what? Is something going to happen? Su Qingni smiled, yes, I am trying to lure the snake out of its hole. The 2 bodyguards looked at each other and nodded, okay, we will protect you in secret. With their abilities, they can protect Su Qingni even if they follow in secret. And since there are really people who have bad intentions towards Su Qingni, it is better to catch them and deal with them quickly. Su Qingni began to wander around City A. Su Xiaoru grasped her actions and immediately found the human traffickers who kidnapped Su Qingni in the previous life based on her memories of the previous life. This time, Su Xiaoru gave them a higher price and let these human traffickers take Su Qingni's life directly. These people claim to abide by the rules of the rivers and lakes and will definitely help Su Xiaoru handle things if they receive money. On this day, Su Qingni went to the amusement park to play and rode the roller coaster. Su Qingni found a chair to sit down and rest to calm the arc of her adrenaline. A middle-aged couple walked to the other side of the chair where Su Qingni was sitting and sat down. Seeing that Su Qingni was not on guard and other people in the amusement park did not notice them, mainly because Su Qingni found a cool and secluded place to sit down, and the 1-meter-high bushes blocked the view of many people, the middle-aged woman took out a wet towel from her backpack, and the middle-aged man took the wet towel and suddenly rushed towards Su Qingni, covering her face with a towel. Su Qingni struggled for a while, and then stopped moving. The middle-aged woman put Su Qingni on the middle-aged man's back, and the 2 of them took Su Qingni away quickly. When they disappeared, Cheng Hong and another bodyguard Chu Jiangguo showed up. Cheng Hong complained, this girl is too willful. Is she going to go into the tiger's den alone? Chu Jiangguo sighed and said, there is no way. Who told us to run into such a boss? Let's chase them quickly. Maybe we can dig out some big rats and save more people during this incident. Cheng Hong nodded, yes, looking at the actions of these two people, they are veterans, the kind of human traffickers who are used to doing this. I don't know how many girls they have harmed. Humph, this time, we can't let them get away. Chu Jianguo smiled and said, with Boss Su's help, how can they get away? She has a lot of good things in her hands. Cheng Hong also smiled when she heard it. Although Su Qingni has focused her research on biomedical research in recent years, she has invented a lot of small things in her spare time. These small things have brought a lot of convenience to the army and the police force. Su Qingni thought that Su Xiaoru was going to kidnap her and sell her to the mountains like she did in her previous life, but she didn't expect Su Xiaoru to kill her directly. Seeing Su Xiaoru appearing in front of her with a knife, Su Qingni laughed. This guy seemed to have lost his mind. Su Qingni stopped talking and sent a signal to Cheng Hong and Chu Jianguo. The two of them broke in with the police uncles. Su Xiaoru was caught in the act, and other human traffickers were also caught by the police uncles. This place is the base camp of human traffickers, and there are many women and children imprisoned in it. The human traffickers who can come here are in high positions in the human trafficker group, and each of them has developed many downlines and uplines. Based on these clues, the police uncles smash many dens of human traffickers, successfully rescue many women and children, and reunited many broken families. These human traffickers were caught by the police uncles, and many people involved were also arrested. Su Xiaoru was arrested. Su's father and mother came to the police station after getting the news. When they learned the reason why Su Xiaoru was arrested, Su's mother couldn't believe it. She didn't believe that her biological daughter would kill her adopted daughter. Father Su had no doubts. With Su Xiaoru's vicious nature, he was actually very curious about how Su Qingni could survive until now. Father Su was now very hesitant. Should he take this opportunity to put Su Xiaoru in jail and get rid of his daughter completely? Or should he pull Su Xiaoru out and continue to use her skills to benefit himself? However, Father Su didn't have to worry about it. Someone had already made a choice for him. Someone came and took Su Xiaoru away. After that, someone else found Su Qingni and told her a lot. The central idea was that Su Xiaoru's skills were still very useful and there was a place for her. I hope Su Qingni will show mercy and not care about Su Xiaoru's offense. Su Qingni laughed and agreed to the requests of these people. On the surface, she looked like everyone was fine. In fact, she had already cast a rebound spell on Su Xiaoru. If Su Xiaoru wanted to harm herself, this malice would rebound back to her twice. She didn't have to do anything anymore. Su Xiaoru would suffer the consequences soon. This kind of rebound spell is a high-level spell, which has been lost in this world. When something happened to Su Xiaoru, no one would think of Su Qingni. After all, she is just a scientist, how could she be a master of Zerman? Sure enough, within 10 days, Su Xiaoru got into trouble. She was practicing in her room, and she became possessed. Although her life was saved, her Zuanman magic power was wasted, and she was paralyzed all over. The department that took Su Xiaoru away originally wanted to rely on Su Xiaoru's ability to do things, but before the work was done, she was wasted, which made the head of this department very depressed. Just for such a waste, they offended promising young scientists in related departments, which was simply not worth the loss. Su Xiaoru was finally sent back to the Su family. There was no way. The department was not a charity, and it was impossible for them to help the Su family raise a useless person. When Su's mother saw Su Xiaoru's miserable condition, she shed many tears in front of her. She still had a loving mother's heart. Although her biological daughter was not close to her, she still had a bit of mother-daughter love for Su Xiaoru. Unlike Su's father, after knowing that Su Xiaoru had become a disabled person, he no longer saw Su Xiaoru, as if he had forgotten that he had such a daughter, who had helped him solve many problems. Chapter 611 I Love Science Zi. Qin Zhanghu heaved a sigh of relief when he learned that Su Xiaoru had become a disabled person and could no longer use the magic of the Zuanman sect. He immediately announced to the public that he had ended his relationship with Su Xiaoru. Qin Zhanghu chose a daughter of a family with similar family conditions to the Su family to marry, entered the palace of marriage, and had children. But when Qin Zhanghu dreamed at midnight, he would feel a sense of loss, as if his current life was not what he wanted, as if he had lost something precious. After Su Xiaoru knew that Qin Zhanghu had married another woman, she spurted out a large mouthful of blood, and began to curse Qin Zhanghu, the Su family couple, Su Qingni, and Su's younger brother. Her mind was confused, and she could not distinguish between the previous life and this life. Her words were regarded as nonsense by the servants, who thought that Miss Su had gone crazy, but after Su's father heard these words, the old fox had a guess. Don't think that Father Su is not keeping up with the times at the age of 50. In order to obtain more information, Father Su is also very good at surfing the internet and playing with his mobile phone. Father Su has also read many online novels. According to him, there are many stocks and strategies in novels, which can also be used in reality, especially some business war novels, which are Father Su's favorite. Therefore, Father Su knows about time travel and rebirth. From Su Xianru's nonsense, Father Su analyzed a conclusion that in the previous life, Su Qingni obtained the inheritance of Zuanmen and became a respected master of Zuanmen. Not only did she help the Su family to a higher level, but also made her husband's family develop better. And Su Qingni's husband is Qin's Henhu. After Su Xianru was reborn, she not only robbed Su Qingni of her opportunity, but also robbed her husband. After analyzing the truth, Father Su was depressed. It would be better for Su Xianru not to be reborn. It would be better for Su Qingni to get the opportunity. If Su Qingni gets the opportunity, she will help her natal family and her husband's family. She is highly respected and respected by many people. She only does good things and does not do bad things. It's not like Su Xianru who did all kinds of bad things and was eventually backfired, causing punishment from the heavens. Not only did she become a useless paralytic, she also became a madman. Unfortunately, no matter how depressed she was, there was nothing she could do. She had to support this paralytic and madman. Alice. Su's father regretted it so much. But when he saw Su Qingni on TV and learned about her achievements, Su's father regretted it even more. He regretted listening to Su Xianru and driving Su Qingni out of the Su family. Now he couldn't even take advantage of Su Qingni. Damn it. He pushed a genius scientist away with his own hands. It was also because of his own short-sightedness that he couldn't see that Su Qingni was not an ordinary person. In her previous life, Su Qingni was able to become a respected celestial master by relying on the mysterious arts. In this life, she became the youngest scientist in the world through hard study. No matter which life she was in, she was a successful person and lived a wonderful life. Is this girl God's biological daughter? On TV, the host was interviewing Su Qingni. It took more than 2 years for Su Qingni to research the organ cloning technology. In the future, when patients need to undergo organ replacement surgery, they don't have to wait for others to donate, and they don't have to wait for a successful match. As long as they use their own cells, they can cultivate the most suitable and healthy organs for themselves. Su Qingni has studied this technology in other worlds. This time, because she had too much fun, she couldn't produce results at the agreed time, so she took out the things she had made before. In that world, Su Qingni became a Nobel Prize winner with this technology. In this life, Su Qingni also won the Nobel Prize with this technology. The whole world knows Su Qingni is a biomedical scientist, but they don't know that Su Qingni is also a master in electronic technology. Now everyone can play holographic online games, all thanks to Su Qingni. The country is very pleased with the results of Su Qingni. This child's 2 years have not been in vain. A genius is a genius, and he can achieve success in any aspect. The country attaches great importance to it. Su Qingni has now become a national treasure-level scientist. The relevant departments have given the green light to Su Qingni's research room, hoping that she can research more and better things. Everyone is very curious about what field Su Qingni will study in her next project. This kid seems to have learned a lot about physics and chemistry by himself. Is this kid going to study quantum mechanics or nuclear energy reactions? Su Qingni smiled at everyone. Have you heard of Mass Effect? Everyone? Question mark. What are you talking about? Su Qingni just remembered that there is no game called Mass Effect in this world. This game is a game that Su Qingni played when she traveled to the modern world. Both the picture quality and the game content are quite good. Su Qingni likes the background and story development of this game. She played the female character Jane Shepard, and finally played a green light ending, integrating organic and mechanical life in the entire galaxy, and felt great. Su Qingni is very interested in the mass weapons in the game and wants to play with them in reality. Now that we have the conditions, why not make them all real? There are also those battleships, starships and space stations in the game, which are really eye-catching. Every time Su Qingni sees the Normandy and the Citadel, she has the urge to copy them into reality. and the mass relay. Maybe in this world, it is impossible to copy all the technologies in Mass Effect, it is impossible to build a citadel, it is impossible to build a mass relay, but it should be possible to build a Normandy, right? Su Qingni then began to enter the field of weapons research. It took Su Qingni 20 years to copy all the weapons in Mass Effect. The strength of the Flower Country's army increased greatly, deterring many of the surrounding countries. After that, Su Qingni began to move towards aerospace. The country's aerospace is still good now. It has developed a manned spacecraft that can take people to travel in space, but the distance is a bit short. The farthest can only reach Mars, and it can't even leave the solar system. After Su Qingni joined this field, he first researched a spacecraft that broke out of the solar system, and then various types of interstellar battleships, from the smallest single-person battleship to a large battleship that can carry a legion. Finally, Su Qingni finally copied the Normandy and let it appear on this planet. But it was only the first generation of the Normandy. Su Qingni had stayed in this world long enough, and it was time to leave. She left behind the relevant data of the mass relay and the concept of the citadel, and left this world. She believed that with this data, the scientists in this world would be able to manufacture the mass relay and the citadel. Chapter 612, Asking to Leave the Hall. When Su Qingni returned to the netherworld, Lady Pingxin was still playing mahjong in West Kunlun. Su Qingni did not find the fragment of the true spirit of the ancestor witch in the last world, so she did not let anyone notify Lady Pingxin. After returning to the witch world and resting for a while, she began to travel again. I am the dividing line after traveling. Su Qingni found that she was completely submerged in water. The original owner had drowned and her body was sinking. Su Qingni kicked her feet hard and jumped out of the water, breathing heavily. A scream came into Su Qingni's ears. She looked over and saw a woman standing on the river bank. Seeing her head emerge from the river, she screamed. However, there was no joy in the scream, but unhappiness. With her sharp five senses, Su Qingni saw the expression of "how can you be so lucky" on the woman's face and the deep malice in her eyes. Su Qingni's heart moved slightly. The original owner fell into the river, which must have something to do with this woman. The woman saw Su Qingni float to the surface, still struggling, her eyes rolled, and suddenly she shouted, "Help! Help! Someone fell into the water." As she shouted, a man emerged from the bushes not far from the river and ran towards the river. Su Qingni saw the smug smile on the corners of the woman's mouth, snorted in her heart, and dived into the water, picked up 2 small stones from the bottom of the river, floated to the surface, and threw them towards the woman on the shore. This is a world with strict rules. Su Qingni's power is limited. She can't practice magic or internal strength. Su Qingni can only rely on her skills to use the power of her original body to throw 2 stones. Fortunately, the original body is used to doing hard work and has a lot of strength. The woman was quite far away, and the stones could still knock her down. The 2 stones hit the woman's knees from left to right. The woman's legs softened, fell forward, and fell into the river. Seeing the woman struggling in the river, and then seeing the wretched man about to run to the river, Su Qingni thought to herself, "You guys can have fun by yourselves," and turned around and swam toward the downstream of the river. There was a bend 20 meters downstream of the river. After turning the bend, Su Qingni immediately climbed ashore and quickly ran back to her original home. Along the way, Su Qingni avoided people when she saw them, and no one noticed that she was wet all over. When she got home, Su Qingni immediately took a clean set of clothes to change, wiped her hair with cotton cloth, and then went into the kitchen and started cooking dinner, using the heat of the stove to dry the moisture on her body and hair. After receiving the memories of her original body, Su Qingni was depressed to find that she had crossed over into the body of a married woman, and now she had a husband and children. Her single noble life. Fortunately, her original husband was a soldier outside, and he had not been home for many years, and he didn't know if he was still alive. At present, she didn't have to worry about fulfilling her obligations as a wife for her original body. The husband of the original body is the 3rd son of the Meng family. The Meng family is a big family in Qingshuo. 3/4 of the people in Qingshuo have the surname Meng, and the remaining quarter are outsiders. The Meng family is very united, so they all live a good life and can eat and wear warm clothes. Old man Meng has 3 sons and 3 daughters. All 3 daughters have married, 1 married in Qingshuo, and 2 married in other villages. The 3 sons have also started families. Meng Leota married Zhao and gave birth to 2 sons and a daughter. Meng Leoa married Jin and gave birth to 2 daughters and a son. Meng Leozan married the original owner and gave birth to a pair of twins, and now both children are 4 years old. The Meng family did not split up, and the family lived together. Meng Leota and Meng Leo were farmed at home, while Meng Leozan joined the army. Except for asking people to bring silver money back home every year, there has been no news. Meng Leozan asked people to bring back a lot of silver money every year. Even if the family did not work, the money was enough for the family to live for a year. Therefore, even though Meng Laosan had not returned for many years, the Meng family took good care of the original body and her 2 children. The original body's parents had died, leaving only an older brother and an older sister. The older sister married to the town and lived a good life. The older brother and she were not born by the same mother, and they were not close to each other. Since the death of her parents, the original body was too lazy to contact her family. The original body was used to working since she was a child. Although the money that Meng Laosan brought back every year was enough for her not to work and just enjoy it, and other people in the Meng family would not say anything, the original body could not sit still and still worked every day and worked with the Meng family. The 2 elders of the Meng family were very satisfied with her daughter-in-law. The 2 sisters-in-law did not like each other, but they were still good to her. Su Qingni cooked a pot of porridge, cut some shredded mustard, and mixed it with sesame oil. When she finished the dish, the Meng family went home talking. The children rushed in first, followed by the adults. Whether it was men or women, they all had gossipy faces. Su Qingni pretended to know nothing and asked Meng Laoda's wife Zhao, sister-in-law, "What happened? You look like that. Did something happen in the village? Didn't you hear the noise outside?" Zhao asked. Su Qingni nodded, "I heard it. But I had to make dinner, so I didn't go out to see." "Sister-in-law, what happened? Tell me quickly." Before Zhao could say anything, Jin came over and spoke quickly. "It's nothing serious, it's just that Zhang Xinghe fell into the river somehow, and was rescued by the kid Erhunzi. People in the sky wear thin clothes, and men and women come into contact in the water like this, you know." Su Qingni blinked to show that she understood. The emperor had just been overthrown, but the feudal ethics were still there, and people attached great importance to women's chastity, especially in small places like theirs. Zhang Xinghe was hugged by a man, and she had to marry that man. What made Zhao and Jin happy was that Zhang Xinghe was going to marry none other than Erhunzi, the poorest and most chaotic man in the village. Erhunzi was lazy and liked gambling, and he had almost ruined all the family property. His parents and brothers couldn't stand him, so they separated him and lived alone. Without anyone to control him, Erhunzi gambled more unscrupulously and mortgaged all the land his parents had given him. Although his parents loved their son, they didn't dare to give him money. They only sent him some food from time to time to prevent him from starving to death. Erhunzi was now the poorest man in the village, but he still didn't work hard. He stole things all day long, which made the villagers hate him. This also led to Erhunzi being almost 30 years old, but still not getting married. Now, after saving someone, Erhunzi got his wife, and she was the most beautiful girl in the village. Chapter 613 Asking to Leave the Hall Part 2. Most women in the village were gloating over the fact that Zhang Xinghe was going to marry Erhunzi. It was because Zhang Xinghe relied on her beauty and was the most popular girl in the village. She attracted the young men in the village and made them fascinated by her. They rushed to help her and often gave her good things from home. Zhang Xinghe's family was a stranger who had fled to King Shuao. In addition to Zhang San and his wife, there was only Zhang Xinghe, a daughter, and a young son. The family conditions were the worst in the village. But because there was such a beautiful daughter like Zhang Xinghe, someone helped Zhang Liaozhen with the work in the fields, and there was free labor for the rough work at home. In addition, someone would send Zhang Xinghe some good things every now and then, pheasants and rabbits shot in the mountains, fresh vegetables and fruits picked, and occasionally some food. The Zhang family's life was getting better and better, and they even had a surplus of money at home, and bought 2 acres of land this year. Zhang Xinghe's behavior of hooking up with men made the women in King Shuao look down on her, but they could do nothing about Zhang Xinghe. Whenever they confronted Zhang Xinghe, she would look like she was about to cry as if she was being bullied by them, and those stupid men would come out to help Zhang Xinghe, making the women very depressed. They felt strange. Did these men have brains? Zhang Xinghe was clearly using them and hanging them with her beauty, but they couldn't see it. Humph, with Zhang Xinghe's arrogant personality, how could she marry old farmers like them? Otherwise, why did many families find matchmakers to propose marriage to their sons, but why did the Zhang family reject them? They said that Zhang Xinghe was still young and not in a hurry to get married. Bah! She's 18 years old, and she's still young? Many of them at this age are already mothers. It must be that the Zhang family wanted Zhang Xinghe to climb up the social ladder and marry into a wealthy family in the city. Jin was gloating over someone else's misfortune, and her small eyes narrowed into slits as she laughed. Haha, the Zhang family wanted Zhang Xinghe to be the concubine of the young master of the grain and oil shop in the city, but now it's not possible. The young master won't want a woman who has been touched by other men. No matter how beautiful Zhang Xinghe is, he won't want her. Zhao asked in surprise, how do you know that the Zhang family wanted Zhang Xinghe to be the concubine of the young master of the grain and oil shop? I found out about it. I even saw Zhang Xinghe meeting the young master. Jin said, it was just 5 days ago. Did I go to the city? I happened to see Zhang's wife taking Zhang Xinghe into the most expensive restaurant in the city, and they sat at the same table with a woman who looked like a matchmaker. I was curious, so I asked around. It turned out that the young master's official wife had only given birth to a daughter in all these years. The young master's wife wanted to have a grandson, so she planned to marry a second concubine for her son. When Zhang's wife heard the news, she took her daughter to find a matchmaker. When I left, I saw the young master went to that restaurant. He must have gone to see someone. Zhao laughed even more gloatingly after hearing this. Haha, now Zhang Xinghe can't be the concubine of a rich family. She can only be the main wife of the second gangster. Jin grinned. That's right. Most of the people in our village saw Erhunzi carrying Zhang Xinghe out of the river. The two bodies were pressed against each other. It was so tight that Zhang Xinghe had no choice but to marry Erhunzi. If the Zhang family really dared to stop Zhang Xinghe from marrying Erhunzi and wanted to marry her to the young master, the village chief and the elders in the village would definitely drive the Zhang family out of the village. Su Qingni laughed happily with the two of them. She had already understood that Zhang Xinghe wanted to harm her original body and have an affair with Erhunzi, but she didn't expect that harming others would eventually harm herself. She, the great god Su, came and threw 2 stones at Zhang Xinghe to make her suffer for what she had done. The family talked about Zhang Xinghe and had dinner. Su Qingni cooked, and she didn't have to worry about washing the dishes. She took the 2 children back to her room. The 2 children were named Meng Zuniang and Meng Yue, and their nicknames were Guagua and Dao Dao. Because they were twins, they were born with good luck, so they were very much loved by their grandparents. Other people in the Meng family also liked them very much. However, the original body had educated them well, and the children were very obedient, not naughty children. Su Qingni sat on the king with the 2 children, took out paper and pen, and taught the 2 children to recognize words. The father of the original body was a scholar in the last dynasty. He was quite knowledgeable and was preparing to take the imperial examination. As a result, the dynasty was overthrown, and he, a scholar, was no longer popular, and he could not rely on the imperial examination to get promoted. So he was depressed all day long, and his mind was sullen, and he passed away early. As the daughter of a scholar, the original body naturally knew how to read and write. This is also the main reason why the old Meng family wanted to hire the original body as a daughter-in-law. The old Meng family wanted a literate daughter-in-law who could teach their grandchildren and let them have a good future in the future. Just look at the 3rd child of their own family. If he hadn't learned to read from the 3rd child's wife, how could the 3rd child be promoted so quickly in the army? Don't ask them how they know that Meng Laosan got promoted so quickly. You can tell from the amount of money he brings back every year. Promotion means salary increase. Only promotion means salary increase. Su Qingni taught the 2 children a few words. Seeing that it was getting dark, she didn't let the 2 children learn any more words. Let the 2 children lie down on the kang, and Su Qingni told them stories. The stories all came from history books. The original body compiled the records and records of the grand historian into small stories and told them to the children, so that the children could learn what she wanted them to learn from these stories. It was getting darker and darker. The 2 children had already fallen asleep, and everyone in the Meng family was snoring. Su Qingni pushed open the door, tiptoed out of the room, and then tiptoed out of the yard. The darkness did not affect Su Qingni too much. Her sharp 5 senses allowed her to barely see things in the dark, not to mention that there was moonlight tonight. Everyone in the village was fast asleep at this time, and Su Qingni quietly walked to the outside of Zhang Xinghe's house. Although she only looked at Zhang Xinghe twice today, Su Qingni had already seen traces of the timeline on Zhang Xinghe. Because of the rules of this world, Su Qingni could not check the timeline of this world, and could not get more information. Fortunately, there's Zhang Xinghe, who should be a reborn person. I can get it from her. Although she has no extraordinary power, Su Qingni still understands many skills of ordinary people. She can still ask some questions from a reborn village girl. Su Qingni climbed over the low wall of the Zhang family, accurately found Zhang Xinghe's house, and walked in. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 614, Asking to Leave the Hall Part 3. Zhang Xinghe felt someone pushing her in her sleep. She opened her eyes in a daze and immediately fell into 2 whirlpools. After hypnotizing Zhang Xinghe, Su Qingni began to ask. Sure enough, Zhang Xinghe was reborn. Today, the original body fell into the water because of Zhang Xinghe's push behind the scenes. The second bastard was arranged by Zhang Xinghe. The reason for doing this was all because Zhang Xinghe was jealous of the original body, and she wanted to replace the original body and become the wife of Meng Laozhen. In the previous life, Zhang Xinghe looked down on Meng Laozhen, a soldier. As Jin saw, Zhang Xinghe in the previous life met the young master of the grain and oil shop in the city, and happily married the young master as a concubine. She lived well in the first 2 years, but after giving birth to a son, life began to get worse. The son she gave birth to was taken to the eldest wife to be raised by her side. The young master's family and even the Duong family and the Duong family's wife did not say anything, because the eldest wife's family was richer and more powerful than the young master's family. Then, Zhang Xinghe was found sleeping in the same bed with the groom of the mansion. Zhang Xinghe was driven out of the Zhang family on the grounds of being unchaste. Zhang Xinghe cried out for injustice, but the Zhang family did not listen to her and drove her out mercilessly without giving her a penny. Zhang Xinghe felt wronged and stayed outside the Zhang family and was unwilling to leave. It was a maid of the Zhang family who secretly told her that the fact that she slept with a groom was arranged by the eldest wife, and it was the eldest wife who framed her. The owner and the young owner did not fail to see it. But first, Zhang Xinghe had slept with another man. Although nothing happened, in the eyes of others, she had lost her innocence. The young owner would not want an unclean concubine, but the eldest wife's family was powerful, and the owner and the young owner did not dare to offend the eldest wife, so they could only abandon Zhang Xinghe. The maid asked Zhang Xinghe to leave quickly, lest the eldest wife heard that she refused to leave, and she would be angry and have someone arrest her and sell her to the women's dormitory. Zhang Xinghe was so scared that she left the city and returned to her parents' home. Although she hated the first wife very much in her heart, she had no power and no means to take revenge on the first wife. The news that Zhang Xinghe was driven out of her husband's house and her bad reputation spread throughout the city and the nearby villages. The people in the village also heard the news and felt that Zhang Xinghe was unclean and would not let her return to the village to live. If the Zhang family wanted to take in Zhang Xinghe, the village would drive the entire Zhang family out of the village. The Zhang family did not want people to leave the village, so they had to wrong Zhang Xinghe, gave her a little money, and drove her away. Poor Zhang Xinghe did not have any skills to make a living, and could not endure hardships, so she had to become a secretor. Once Zhang Xinghe followed a wealthy businessman that she had finally caught up with to attend a banquet to welcome the marshal, but she saw her original body at the banquet, wearing gold and silver and being flattered by many noble ladies. Zhang Xinghe asked the wealthy businessman in disbelief, only to find out that Meng Laozhen, the soldier she looked down upon, had become rich and was the protagonist of this banquet, and now they were the marshal of the H province garrison. It turned out that after Meng Laozhen joined the army, he accidentally saved the former Marshal Zhang. Marshal Zhang took good care of Meng Laozhen, his savior. In addition, Meng Laozhen was literate and very brave in battle, so his military rank was promoted very quickly. Not long after Zhang Xinghe married the young master, Meng Laozhen returned to the village and took the original body and 2 children away. At that time, Meng Laozhen was already a division commander, and the original body was also respected as the division commander's wife. Later, Marshal Zhang was assassinated and killed, and his men robbed the power he left behind. Needless to say, they were all injured. It is only known that in the end, Meng Liaozhen picked up the bargain and became the new marshal's commander-in-chief, while the original body became the marshal's wife, high above, and was flattered by everyone. Zhang Xinghe was so jealous that she was about to be separated from the wall. Why can the original body become the marshal's wife? Is the original body as beautiful as Zhang Xinghe? A yellow-faced woman became the marshal's wife just because she married a good husband. And she is so beautiful, but she has fallen into the dark woman Chang. If I had married Meng Laosan, wouldn't I be the wife of the marshal who is being flattered now? This idea has been lingering in Zhang Xinghe's mind until her death in the previous life. She was severely beaten by the wife of the rich businessman, and then caught a cold. She had no money for treatment and died before she was 25 years old. Unexpectedly, Zhang Xinghe opened her eyes again and found that she was still alive. Zhang's parents were discussing letting her marry into the grain and oil shop as a concubine. Zhang Xinghe thanked God for giving her such a chance to start over, and she immediately stopped Zhang's parents' behavior. Are you kidding? Marrying into the grain and oil shop again and being framed and calculated by the eldest wife? She doesn't want to, and she also looks down on the young master of the grain and oil shop. Since she has the opportunity, she will be the wife of the marshal, become a superior person, and then repay the eldest wife of the grain and oil shop and the wife of the rich businessman. But if she wants to be the wife of the marshal, the original body must be eliminated. Zhang Xinghe arranged two paths for the original body. One is to die directly in the river, the other is that if the original body can swim and will not die in the river, she will let a bribed second gangster jump into the river to save the original body and take advantage of the original body in the river. In this way, the original body loses her chastity, the old Meng family will no longer want the original body as a daughter-in-law, and Meng Laosan will not want such a wife. Meng Laosan has no wife, and the Meng family will definitely let him marry another one. Zhang Xinghe believes that with her beauty, she will be able to seduce Meng Laosan and let him marry her, and she will become the marshal's wife in the future. As for the original body who is divorced and lost her reputation, what will happen? What does it have to do with her? She just wants to live a good life and doesn't care about the life and death of others. Su Qingni hates this kind of reborn person with a corrupt character and disgusting people the most. After you are reborn, why don't you use the advantages of rebirth to live your own life, but you have to rob others of their happiness? In order to rob others of their happiness, you have to harm others and want them to die. This kind of person is the most hateful. Especially since this person was a procuress who came back to her former lover, Su Qingni couldn't understand it. There were many decent women. Why didn't they let these people be reborn, but only the women from the branch families? Is it possible to watch the show only when they are reborn? She felt sorry for the soldiers in many military wives stories. Su Qingni sneered and hypnotized Zhang Xinghe to forget everything about her past life. She should just be a country girl who knew nothing and marry this idiot honestly. She would never be a rich lady in this life. After doing all this, Su Qingni left Zhang Xinghe's room, returned to the Meng family quietly, and lay back on the bed in her own room. But she couldn't sleep. Meng Laosan was about to come back. What should she do? Scratching his head. Scratching his head. His head was about to be bald, but what was he going to do? Exclamation mark. Chapter 615, Asking to leave the hall Part 4. If it doesn't work, just use medicine. Damn it, let's wait a few days. Then we can deal with it according to the situation. She didn't believe that Meng Liaozhen had been in the Li family for so many years and was still in a high position, and there was no other woman. The next day, Su Qingni said goodbye to Mrs. Meng and went to the city alone. After buying some daily necessities, Su Qingni went to the medicine shop to buy the herbs she needed. When she returned to the village, Su Qingni did not go back to the Meng family, but went directly to Hunter's rest hut on the mountain. There were clay pots and matches in the house for people to cook food. Su Qingni used simple utensils to make a kind of tranquilizing pill. The surface of this pill is sealed with wax. When used, pinch the wax to make the fragrance of the pill emit, so that people can fall asleep when they smell it. This pill is not harmful to the human body, but has a soothing effect on the spirit and brain. After making the pill, it was almost dark, and she hurried down the mountain to go home. Guagua and Dao Dao saw Su Qingni going home, and they ran over and hugged her thighs on each side. Su Qingni patted the heads of the two children, took out 2 candies from the package and gave them to the 2 younger ones. Then the other younger generations in the family gathered around, and Su Qingni gave each of them a candy. When they walked to the square table in the main hall, Su Qingni put down the package, and Jin came over. You were not in the village today, and you didn't see the good show. Su Qingni blinked. What good show? The person who answered was Zhao. The second rascal went directly to the Zhang family, saying that he wanted to be a son-in-law of the Zhang family. The Zhang family drove him out. Jin continued, with the character of the second rascal, if he really entered the Zhang family's things would not be kept. Who knows when the second rascal would take them out to exchange for money for gambling? Su Qingni asked, the Zhang family does not recognize the second rascal as a son-in-law? What about Zhang Xinghu? Jin said, I heard that the Zhang family's mother-in-law also went to the city today, and wanted Zhang Xinghu to be the concubine of the young master of the grain and oil shop. How can she be so shameless that she wants to marry a girl who has lost her chastity to a rich young master, and she wants to enjoy the good life? Su Qingni, I didn't see the Zhang family's mother-in-law when I went to the city today. Did the young master of the grain and oil shop agree? Of course I didn't agree. Today, the second uncle's seventh sister-in-law happened to go to the city, and saw the Zhang family's woman shamelessly promoting her daughter to the young master, saying how good Zhang Xinghu was. The seventh sister-in-law was kind-hearted, and couldn't bear to see the young master being deceived, so she stepped forward and told him about Zhang Xinghu falling into the river yesterday. The young master immediately asked the servants to drive the Zhang family's woman out. In order to thank the seventh sister-in-law for reminding him and not making him a living cuckold, the young master also gave the seventh sister-in-law 5 pounds of sesame oil. 5 pounds of sesame oil. If I had known, I would have gone to the city today as well, and exposed the Zhang family's affairs before the seventh sister-in-law. Jin's face was full of envy. Su Qingni smiled and took out an oil bottle from the package and stuffed it into Jin's arms. Don't envy the seventh sister-in-law, we also have sesame oil at home. Jin rolled her eyes at Su Qingni. Am I envious because of the sesame oil? I am envious because I get something without spending money. Su Qingni just smiled. Zhao said, after the seventh sister-in-law came back, she told the purpose of Zhang's mother-in-law coming to the city. The second rascal immediately refused to listen after hearing about it. He ran to the door of Zhang's house and made a big fuss. The Zhang family was so annoyed that they hid in the house and dared not show their heads. Su Qingni smiled and said, they have to work in the fields every day. How can the Zhang family hide at home forever? Jin laughed, now there are no suckers to help them work. Zhang Laosi and his wife are like this. Don't they die of exhaustion after a day? Zhao sneered, it's because they have been raised like this by those suckers in the past few years. They really think they are the master and mistress of the landlord's family. The suckers are their long-term workers. What are you chewing? Hurry up and set the table and let everyone come to eat. Old Lady Meng interrupted the three people to continue gossiping. The three people immediately separated and did their own things. Su Qingni didn't pay much attention to the Zhang family, but the things about the Zhang family kept coming to Su Qingni's ears. With two gossipy sisters-in-law around, there was nothing that Su Qingni could hide from the village. Erhunzi went to the door of Zhang's house every day to make trouble. Zhang Liuxi and Zhang's mother-in-law had no choice. Their daughter's reputation had become bad and had spread out. She could not think of finding a good family again. If Zhang Xinghu did not marry Erhunzi, she would have no way out. However, Zhang Liuxi and Zhang's mother-in-law were unwilling to recognize Erhunzi as their son-in-law, fearing that he would use his relatives to take advantage of their family, so they cruelly drove Zhang Xinghu out of the house and announced to the public that they had severed their father-daughter and mother-daughter relationship with Zhang Xinghu. Zhang Xinghu had no reputation, no natal family, and no suitors who treated her like a princess. She had nothing left, so she could only follow Erhunzi back to his dilapidated house and become his wife. But Zhang Xinghu was spoiled, and she could not do farm work or live a hard life. One day, when Erhunzi was not at home, Zhang Xinghu ran away. It is said that she went to the city, hooked up with a passing merchant, and ran away with the merchant. Erhunzi lost his wife, was angry, and ran to Zhang's house to make trouble. Zhang's family had no choice but to give part of the grain to Erhunzi, and Erhunzi left. He went to the city with the grain on his back, and then went to the gambling house again. Not 2 days after Zhang Xinghu ran away, Meng Liaozhen returned home in glory, brought a small team of men, and rode into the village on a tall horse. That majestic vibe, tisk-tisk, it made all the young people in the village envious. Wife? Meng Liaozhen called hesitantly when he saw Su Qingni. It was true that the woman in front of him was very different from the bright and beautiful wife before he left. Although the facial features were the same, the woman in front of him had sallow skin and wrinkles at the corners of her eyes. She looked older than himself. How could she be as bright as he remembered? No wonder people say yellow-faced woman, wife of the poor and the poor, etc. Isn't the woman in front of him a yellow-faced woman and a poor and the poor and the poor? Third brother. Su Qingni imitated the original owner's tone and called Meng Laozhen. Seeing Meng Laozhen's expression of disbelief and even disgust, Su Qingni smiled in her heart. I have gradually changed my appearance these days just for your expression. It would be better if I could save the tranquilizing pills. Qingni. Meng Laozhen grinned and called Su Qingni by her name. I heard that you gave me a pair of twins, a boy and a girl. His eyes fell on Su Qingni's back. Looking at the pair of children hiding behind Su Qingni and secretly looking at him, Meng Laozhen smiled. Chapter 616, Asking to leave the hall 5. I have a son and a daughter. Or a son and a daughter, a good pair. Meng Laozhen is so happy. He has been fighting outside for many years, and he is afraid that one day he will die accidentally, and there will be no offspring left to inherit the incense. In the past 2 years, he has been promoted, and he has 2 or 3 women, but none of them has given birth to children for him. It is better to be the original wife. Her body is a fertile soil. She can give birth to twins for him, and naturally she can give birth to other children. What's wrong with becoming a yellow-faced woman? It must be because of working at home for these years that she has become like this. Look at the eldest sister-in-law and the second sister-in-law, don't they look older than their actual age? When he takes his wife back to his mansion, let the women in the mansion help the yellow-faced woman to support her and teach her to put on makeup and dress up. With Su Qingni's original good foundation, she will be restored to beauty after a period of care. Thinking of this, Meng Laozhen's dislike for Su Qingni disappeared, as if he had just got married. His eyes were full of tenderness for Su Qingni. Su Qingni shuddered. What's wrong with this guy? Does he really love his original body? Even though she had messed up the outer shell into this state, he only disliked it for a moment and then he didn't dislike it anymore? Damn it! How could this be possible? Su Qingni was so depressed. When she went to bed at night, Meng Laozhen really stretched out his claws to her without dislike. Meng Laozhen, the oil lamp was blown out, and the room was dark. I can't see the face of the yellow-faced woman. Women are the same when they take off their clothes. Su Qingni. Su Qingni took out the tranquilizing pills and crushed them. Meng Laozhen fell into deep sleep as soon as he pressed on Su Qingni. Su Qingni pushed him away fiercely and stayed at least 1 meter away from Meng Laozhen before continuing to lie down. Su Qingni was so worried. She thought Meng Laozhen would not be interested in the yellow-faced woman. The result was beyond her expectations. It seemed that she had to separate Meng Laozhen earlier. However, she couldn't tell Meng Laozhen about breaking up in the village. If she broke up with Meng Laozhen and the Meng family would not agree. It would not be easy for her to leave with her 2 children. It would be better to go with Meng Laozhen to where he is stationed now. It is said that he is now living in Shunshan Prefecture. There is a port there, and it would be very convenient to run away if she went to Shunshan. After making a decision, Su Qingni went to bed with peace of mind. Anyway, Meng Laozhen would not wake up that night, so she was safe. The next day, Meng Laozhen woke up because the sun shone into his eyes. Stretching, Meng Laozhen felt very comfortable. He has never had a good sleep since he went to the battlefield. Even after leaving the battlefield, Meng Laozhen did not sleep very well in his own mansion. Sure enough, his hometown is still good, so he can sleep so peacefully. After sleeping well, Meng Laozhen was in a good mood and forgot that he did not sow seeds on the fertile soil last night. The next night, Meng Laozhen still slept well. On the 3rd day, the 4th day, Meng Laozhen slept well, so he didn't care about his wife's noises. He thought that only in such a stable and familiar environment in his hometown could he sleep so well and soundly. If he left his hometown, his sleep quality would not be so good. In this case, he must seize this time in his hometown and get more good sleep. As for the things between him and his wife, anyway, there is a long time, so let's talk about it when we return to Shunshan's mansion. Meng Laozhen stayed in the village for 8 days, and then left with his wife and a pair of children. Before leaving, he left $300 and a box of small yellow croakers for the Meng family. These silvers were astronomical figures for the Meng family, enough for their family to live for decades. What's more, Meng Laozhen might give them money in the future. With this money, the Meng family will be rich. Old man Meng bought a lot of land and stayed in the village to retire. The eldest Meng followed his parents, while the second Meng separated from the family and went to the city with a large sum of money given by the old man Meng. They bought a shop and a house, and the family became city dwellers. Su Qingni followed the third Meng and finally arrived in Shenzhen. No wonder the third Meng did not go home after all these years of prosperity. It was really too hard on the road. He rode a horse, took a train, and changed cars. It took 4 or 5 days to get back to Shenzhen. Everyone was exhausted. The third Meng took Su Qingni into a house with a large garden. The servants opened the door, and 3 women came up to greet him, calling him general in a delicate voice, and surrounded the third Meng, holding his arm and touching his chest, as if he didn't see Su Qingni beside him. "Mom!" Guagua called Su Qingni softly, and he was very scared. Although he was only 4 years old, he was very smart. He had heard about the disputes between wives and concubines in some wealthy families in the city, and he was very worried about his mother. "Don't be afraid." Su Qingni held the 2 children's hands tightly. "Mom will protect you." Meng Liaozhen heard the conversation between the mother and son, and immediately pushed the 3 women out. Now he values his offspring more than women. "Stand up, greet the madam and the young master and young lady," Meng Liaozhen shouted. The 3 women looked at Su Qingni from head to toe, their eyes full of contempt, but there was nothing they could do. Who told the peasant woman in front of them to be Meng Liaozhen's legitimate wife? Who told this woman to give birth to Meng Liaozhen's only 2 children? They endured. When they also gave birth to children, they would have the confidence. Can this ignorant peasant woman still fight them? Humph, look at this appearance, this skin, just like a middle-aged woman in her 30s or 40s. Oh, there are wrinkles. When the marshal sees her like this, can he still eat her? Su Qingni tells you, your marshal really can eat her, but Su Qingni doesn't want him to eat her. The 3 women called out to Su Qingni unwillingly. "Hello, madam, hello, young master and young miss." Su Qingni narrowed her eyes and angrily questioned Meng Liaozhen loudly. "Meng Liaozhen, who are these 3 women who look like fairies?" Meng Liaozhen quickly said, "Don't shout so loudly, they are also my women, my concubines, and will be your sisters in the future. You have to get along well with them." Su Qingni pretended to be furious and punched Meng Liaozhen with her fist. "You are so good, Meng Liaozhen, why do you want to learn from Chen Shimi when you can learn from anyone else? Have you forgotten the promise you made to my father when you married me? You said you would never let me down for the rest of your life, but now it's only been a short time and you already have 3 women. You bastard." Meng Liaozhen quickly reached out and grabbed Su Qingni's arm to stop her from hitting him. "Stop, I'm not Chen Shimi." Chapter 617 Asking to leave the hall vi. Chen Shimi abandoned his original wife and children for wealth and fame after passing the imperial examination, and even wanted to kill them. What about Meng Liaozhen? He has become successful and doesn't need to rely on women. What's more, he didn't abandon his wife and children, and took them to his side to enjoy the good life. He is much more affectionate than Chen Shimi. Isn't it just a few more concubines? What's the matter? Which of his fellow soldiers doesn't have several women? There are few people with the same background as him. Now that they are rich, they despise their previous wives, so they divorce their wives and married a young lady who has drunk foreign ink as their wife. That's Chen Shimi. How can I be considered Chen Shimi? Meng Liaozhen felt very wronged. He was a little guilty about Su Qingni, but he disappeared when Su Qingni made trouble. He only asked the second concubine to arrange a room for Su Qingni, and then ignored Su Qingni. He didn't enter Su Qingni's room at night, which made the women in the mansion very happy, and Su Qingni was also very happy, and everyone was happy. Meng Liaozhen attaches great importance to the 2 children. He knows that the children cannot leave their mother. Even though he thinks Su Qingni is not presentable, he does not prohibit the 2 children from seeing Su Qingni. Su Qingni keeps in touch with the 2 children every day, and intentionally or unintentionally instigates other women to intercept Meng Liaozhen when Meng Liaozhen comes back to get close to the children. After a few times, the 2 children began to be disappointed with Meng Liaozhen as a father. There was not much affection in the first place. Only the days when Meng Liaozhen returned home and the cultivation along the way have now almost dissipated. The reason why Su Qingni did this was to take the 2 children away so that the 2 children would not be reluctant to leave Meng Liaozhen. She herself must leave, and it is impossible for her to leave the 2 children. Although from Zhang Xinghuo's memory of the previous life, Meng Liaozhen will be able to become a marshal in the future. But who knows when he will not be able to be a marshal, and the former Marshal Zhang was assassinated. Who knows when he, Marshal Meng, will die. As the children of Marshal Meng, their safety factor is not very high. Besides, Meng Laosan will have more women in the future, and when these women have children, Meng Laosan has more children, he will not pay too much attention to Guagua and Dao Dao. The two children have no biological mother to take care of them, and they are surrounded by a group of stepmothers and half-brothers and sisters, which will be a disadvantage. The second wife is a merchant's daughter, and the housekeeper is very good at reading the account books. The marshal's mansion is now managed by the second wife. Meng Laosan felt that Su Qingni was not knowledgeable enough and could not be a good wife to him, so he did not take back the housekeeper power from the second wife and give it to Su Qingni. The second wife is a smart woman. Although she looks down on Su Qingni, it is not as obvious as the third and fourth wives. The second wife has done a good job on the surface, allowing Su Qingni to live comfortably in the marshal's mansion. In this regard, Su Qingni thinks that the second wife deserves praise. What kind of prize should be given to the second wife? Well, the women in the mansion all want to give birth to children for Meng Laosan. Then reward the second wife with a few children. Yes, a few. Let's take a look at the multi-child pill developed by Su Qingni. After taking this pill, at least 3 children can be born in one pregnancy, and at most, 5. Too many is too much for the mother to bear, and the child cannot be born safely. So, 2 months later, the second wife suddenly fainted after dealing with housework one day. Most of the servants in the mansion were the second wife's people. They quickly went to find a doctor to diagnose the second wife, and then got great news: the second wife was pregnant. Meng Laosan wanted to sleep with Su Qingni because he thought Su Qingni's belly was a fertile land. However, Su Qingni ignored Meng Laosan for several months because he married several more women, and did not let Meng Laosan enter her room. Meng Laosan could not sow seeds on Su Qingni's land. Unexpectedly, there was a surprise. The second wife's land, which he had cultivated for a long time, actually sprouted seeds. Meng Laosan was so happy. Since the second wife could give birth to a child for him, he didn't have to go to Su Qingni with grievances. This woman has been in Shunshan for so long, and she is fed with good food and drink every day, but her appearance has not improved at all. He was afraid that if he took Su Qingni out, people would say that Su Qingni was his mother. Su Qingni clapped her hands. Great, this is exactly what I wanted. 5 months later, the second wife gave birth to 4 children prematurely, 2 sons and 2 daughters, making up 2 pairs of good characters. Meng Laosan was so happy. 4 newborns. He was no longer afraid of the inheritance of incense. When the 4 children were full-month-old, Meng Laosan held a full-month banquet, and people with some status in Shunshan came. Everyone wanted to get a piece of the blessing. The second wife also became the envy of many women because she gave birth to 2 pairs of twins at one time. Su Qingni, the eldest wife who could not be on the stage, was ordered to stay in her room during the full-month banquet and not come out, so as not to embarrass Meng Laosan. Although Guagua and Dao Dao were not confined, they did not want to stay at the banquet. Seeing everyone circling around the 2 pairs of newborn twins, the 2 children felt ignored. Especially Meng Laosan's attitude towards the 4 newborns and his neglect of them during this period made the 2 children feel even more sad. The 2 children only cared about their mother at this moment. Su Qingni touched the 2 children's heads and asked them, "Mom will take you away from here, leave your biological father, are you willing to do so?" Guagua and Dao Dao looked at each other and nodded their heads vigorously. The marshal's mansion is not good at all. It is not as good as when they were in the village, where they were free and loved by many elders. There is no freedom at all in the marshal's mansion, and there are some women who are malicious to their mother and them. "Mom, shall we go back to the village?" Dao Dao asked Su Qingni. Su Qingni shook her head and said, "Let's not go back to the village. Mom will take you to other places." Guagua whispered, "I can't bear to leave my grandparents and my friends in the village." Su Qingni hugged them. "Then Mom will take you back to see your grandparents and friends, and then we will leave and go to an interesting place, okay?" "No need." Guagua shook his head. "If we go back to the countryside, Grandpa and Grandma won't let Mom and me leave. Let's not go back." Dao Dao heard this and hurriedly said, "We just want to be with Mom." Su Qingni couldn't help but sigh. She felt that she was a little selfish. She only considered herself and didn't consider the feelings of the 2 children. Now, she also asked the 2 children to understand her. Su Qingni hugged the 2 children tightly. Although she felt a little guilty, she had made a decision and would not regret it. Chapter 618, Asking to leave the Hall 7. Since the birth of the 4 newborns, Su Qingni's life has been difficult. The second wife had her own children, and she felt more confident, and her attitude towards Su Qingni also changed. The servants did not even show superficial respect to Su Qingni, and their attitude towards the two children also changed. Meng Liaozhen changed the most. He used to call Guagua and Dao Dao to his side every few days to show his fatherly love, but now all his attention is on the 4 newborns. Guagua and Dao Dao should be sad, and they now spend more time with Su Qingni. Su Qingni thought that she should leave. Living in this environment, she was afraid that the two children would have psychological problems. Su Qingni did not have much money in her hands, all of which were the monthly allowances she got from the mansion. In the mansion, there was food and drink, and no money was spent. These monthly allowances accumulated, almost 100 oceans. This 100 oceans is a huge sum of money for ordinary people, but it is not enough to buy a ticket to go abroad. Su Qingni decided to take the children to live abroad. Nowadays, the country is divided by warlords, and it is in chaos, not to mention fighting. Battles of all sizes often occur. Today this warlord beats that general, and tomorrow that general beats this governor. In order to give the children a stable life, Su Qingni thinks it is better to take them abroad. In fact, the main reason is that Su Qingni feels that the extremely yin land of this world is not on the country. Although this world cannot use power, Su Qingni has a feeling that the extremely yin land is not on the country, but in the distant west. This is the most important reason why Su Qingni is in a hurry to go abroad. She is indeed selfish. Although she calculated that the second wife had so many children, and calculated that the 2 little ones were disappointed with Meng Liaozhen, the father, so that she could leave with the 2 little ones smoothly. If it was her original wish, even if she was sad that Meng Liaozhen married so many women, she would not leave Meng Liaozhen. Su Qingni admits that she is selfish. So what? She only values her own people, well, plus a bird, and the rest of the people are never in her eyes. What's more, she did so much for the sake of the 2 children. It is really unsafe for them in the country. Su Qingni has no money, but the second wife and Meng Liaozhen have money. Although she cannot practice internal skills, Su Qingni has become very skilled now through physical training, with fast speed and agility. In the middle of the night, Su Qingni sneaked into Meng Liaozhen's study. The safe in the study seemed defenseless in front of Su Qingni, and was easily opened by Su Qingni. There were many yellow croakers in it. Su Qingni was not greedy, so she took 10 yellow croakers and left. She went to the second wife's room again, found the place where the second wife kept the money, and took out $1,000. The next day, Su Qingni told people that she was going out shopping, went to Shenzhen port, asked about the departure time and itinerary of the ship going abroad, and finally chose a cruise ship that would leave for San Francisco in 3 days. Su Qingni bought a first-class ticket. The first-class cabin is each independent room, and Su Qingni can live in it with her 2 children. When she returned home, Su Qingni began to pack luggage for the 2 children. The people in the mansion, including the servants, didn't pay much attention to the mother and son. No one noticed Su Qingni's packing behavior. The night before the ship set sail, Su Qingni secretly transported the luggage out of the mansion and found a place to hide it. The next day, Su Qingni pretended to take the 2 children out to play, and then she never came back. At first, the people in the Meng mansion didn't care, but at night, Su Qingni and her son didn't come back, and the second wife frowned. But she had a little calculation in her mind, and didn't tell Meng Liaozhen about this. She was thinking that if Su Qingni and her son had something happen outside and couldn't come back, wouldn't she become the eldest wife in the future? Then her child would become Meng Liaozhen's only child. Because of this thought, the second wife delayed for several days before telling Meng Liaozhen the news that Su Qingni and her son were missing. Meng Liaozhen was shocked. Although he was not satisfied with Su Qingni, he still had some feelings for her in the past, not to mention that Guagua and Dao Dao were his children. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. If anything really happens to the mother and the 2 children, I'll hold you responsible. Meng Liaozhen said this viciously and went out to mobilize troops to look for Su Qingni and the other 2. The second wife was frightened and turned pale, but soon returned to normal. She now has 4 children. With them around, Meng Liaozhen won't do anything to her. The second wife snorted coldly and twisted her waist back to her room. She was waiting to see if Meng Liaozhen could find the yellow-faced woman. Meng Liaozhen naturally couldn't find her, as the ship had already left Shenzhen port. However, Meng Liaozhen's influence in Shenzhen was quite strong, and it didn't take long for him to get clues about Su Qingni and the 2 children. The clues showed that Su Qingni took the two children on a cruise to the United States. Meng Laozhen. He didn't even know that his own yellow-faced woman had become so powerful that she actually took his son and daughter abroad. Does she know foreign languages? Does she have money on her? Oh, yes. He found that 10 large yellow croakers were missing from his safe, and $1,000 were missing from the second wife. Awesome. My original wife has even learned the skills of a thief. How long has this been planned? Back at the mansion, Meng Laozhen went to Su Qingni's room and found the letter that Su Qingni had placed on the dressing table. He opened the envelope, which contained a divorce letter, saying that Su Qingni felt that Meng Laozhen was no longer the Meng Laozhen who was devoted to her before. She didn't care how successful her husband was, she just wanted a husband who belonged to her alone. Since Meng Laozhen was no longer her man, she didn't want Meng Laozhen. What she wanted was a couple for life, which Meng Laozhen couldn't give her. In the letter, Su Qingni asked Meng Laozhen not to look for Guagua and Dao Dao anymore. Meng Laozhen already had other children, and there would be more in the future, so why bother looking for them? When they were at home, Meng Laozhen didn't pay attention to them anymore, and his heart was on other children. At the end of the letter, Su Qingni wrote a line of words, part ways, and be well on your own. Be well on your own, ass. Meng Laozhen was so angry that he tore up both the divorce letter and the letter. He was actually abandoned by a woman. This woman is so bold. If she dares to abandon him, he will definitely. She has gone abroad and can't be found again. Maybe there will be no chance to meet again in the future. He can't do anything he wants to do to Su Qingni. It's really hateful. It's so aggrieved. This woman must have planned to leave after coming to Shenzhen. She planned for a year. No wonder she was able to plan a safe escape. Chapter 619, Asking to Leave the Hall Part 8. Su Qingni and her two children lived on the sea for more than a month. Because they lived in the best cabin with very good conditions, the two children did not show any signs of seasickness. Every morning, she took the two children to watch the sunrise on the boat, taught them English during the day, continued the literacy course, and fell asleep in the waves at night. These days were extremely leisurely. Even the meals on the boat were very good. The two children had Western food for the first time, and they thought it was not bad and got used to it. After lunch, Su Qingni took the two children to the deck for a walk to digest the food. A group of dolphins happened to pass by, and their cute appearance immediately attracted the attention of the two children. They lay on the railing and watched the dolphins jumping on the sea, exclaiming from time to time. This scene on the sea also attracted the attention of other passengers, who came over to see the dolphins. A woman in a jacket and skirt came over to Su Qingni. Judging from her dress, her family should be quite rich, but her expression was timid, and it should be her first time traveling far away. Guagua pulled Su Qingni's skirt and asked her, "Mom, what are these big fish called?" "They are called dolphins." Su Qingni smiled and looked at the elves in the distance, with a look of love on her face. They are elves in the sea, and they are very smart animals. They are very close to humans. Sometimes they will rescue humans who fall into the sea and send them back to the shore. Wow, so amazing! Dao Dao exclaimed, and liked dolphins even more. Su Qingni told the two children a story. After a tour, the famous lyric poet and musician Arian took a lot of money on a boat to go home. On the way, he was murdered by a sailor who was greedy for money. Before falling into the sea, Arian sang a song, and his beautiful singing attracted dolphins. After he was thrown into the sea, one of the dolphins carried him all the way to the shore. Dolphins are so amazing. Guagua and Dao Dao looked at the creatures in the sea with sparkling eyes, their faces full of desire. They wanted to ride on the back of the dolphin and let the dolphin take them to the shore. Su Qingni touched the heads of the two children and heard a faint sigh in her ears. Even fish are so affectionate. Are people worse than fish? Su Qingni looked at the woman who made the sound. She spoke as softly as a mosquito, thinking that no one could hear her, so she didn't know that Su Qingni heard her and turned to look at her. The woman stared blankly at the sea, with sorrow in her eyes and face. Su Qingni did not disturb the woman, nor was she interested in prying into people's troubles. After the dolphins on the sea swam away, she called the two children back to the cabin. Unexpectedly, Su Qingni met the woman the next day. The lively Dao Dao ran on the deck and fell down. The woman happened to be beside him, helped Dao Dao up, and gently comforted Dao Dao. Su Qingni met the woman through the child. The woman had a woman's hairstyle and was actually only 18 years old. Her name was Lu Yixu. She was a lady raised by a large family, But she was raised in feudal ethics and had bound feet. Lu Yixu married her husband Niangniang when she was 16. Niangniang went abroad to study 1 month after the marriage and did not return home for 2 years. The master and mistress of the Ni family wanted to have a grandson. Seeing that Niangniang and Lu Yixu were so far apart and without a married life, they could not have a grandson, so they decided to send Lu Yixu abroad to take care of Niangniang while preparing for pregnancy. Lu Yixu is a smart girl and she does not believe the reasons above. Lu Yixu knew that Niangniang did not like her. Perhaps Niangniang had another woman abroad. Master Ni and Mrs. Ni did not like those open-minded women abroad, so they sent her abroad to let her keep an eye on Niangniang. Lu Yixu pulled the corners of her mouth and smiled bitterly. I don't think I have the charm to make Niangniang change his mind. Perhaps, when I find Niangniang, what awaits me is a divorce letter. It's not that she is pessimistic, but Lu Yixu has seen several such things. After the man came back from abroad, he said that his original wife was a product of feudal dregs and that she was not worthy of them, so he wanted to divorce her and published a divorce notice in the newspaper. This novel way let everyone know that the woman was abandoned by the man, which was a great shame. The man didn't care about the woman's reputation at all, and turned around to pursue the fashionable and modern new women who came back from abroad, saying that they were their true love. Lu Yixu's brother treated his sister-in-law like this. The sister-in-law was very sad and died not long after returning to her parents' home. Lu Yixu was mentally prepared at that time that she might follow in her sister-in-law's footsteps. Lu Yixu didn't expect her own family, they would not stand up for her for the spilled water. Lu Yixu's in-laws, haha, how can a daughter-in-law compare to her son? When Lu Yixu boarded the ship, she had already anticipated the outcome of this trip abroad. She might be greeted by a divorce letter. But she had no way to resist. She couldn't resist her in-laws and her family, so she could only board the cruise with the intention of dying. At worst, I'll just die. What's the point of dying or living? You're still young, how can you give up your life so easily? Su Qingni said. Lu Yixu smiled bitterly, Sister Su, what else can I do except die? I've learned cooking and housekeeping skills since I was a child, and I've learned music, chess, calligraphy and painting. These skills are useless abroad. The most important thing is that I don't speak foreign languages. I'm unfamiliar with the place and can't make a single move. Even if I don't end my life, I won't live more than a month. Foreign languages, with your intelligence, you can learn them quickly. Su Qingni said, if Niangniang really divorces you, you can ask him for more money and open a restaurant. Aren't you a good cook? Support yourself. Su Qingni sighed in her heart. In this era, there are many girls with the same fate as Lu Yixu. If your parents love their daughter, it's okay. After returning to her parents' home, she still has a way to live. If your parents don't love their daughter and think that their daughter's divorce is a disgrace to their family, the ending of this woman. Not everyone is as lucky as Ms. Zhang. Ms. Zhang was silent and resolute. She was able to live a more wonderful life after being abandoned by her husband, which was inseparable from the support and care of her natal family. If it were not for the support of her elder and younger brothers from her natal family, Ms. Zhang's life would not have become wonderful after divorcing the poet, and she would not have been looked up to by so many people. I'm afraid I can't do it. Lu Yixu was a little timid. After all, she was a little girl who had never traveled far. It was impossible for her not to be afraid, and she didn't know what to do. Don't be afraid, I will help you. Su Qingni reached out and patted the back of Lu Yixu's hand. I will teach you foreign languages. If Niangniang really doesn't want you, I will help you settle down in San Francisco. Chapter 620, Asking to Leave Hall 9. Anyway, when she arrived in the United States, Su Qingni didn't know where to settle down for the time being, so it was better to accompany Lu Yixu and help this girl. Su Qingni liked Lu Yixu's character. She was a strong and smart girl. If she helped, there might be another Ms. Zhang. In the remaining half a month, Su Qingni began to teach Lu Yixu foreign languages. Lu Yixu was indeed a smart girl, and she was very hard-working. She knew that only by learning foreign languages could she have the capital to survive abroad. No one really wanted to die. The little girl was only 18 years old and had lived less than a quarter of her life. How could she really want to die? Studying during the day and reviewing at night, Lu Yixu had mastered basic spoken English when the cruise arrived at the port. When she got off the ship, Lu Yixu looked around. The Ni family sent a telegram to Niangniang, telling her the arrival time of the ship and asking Niangniang to pick her up. However, Lu Yixu searched for a long time but couldn't find Niangniang. He didn't come. Lu Yixu said lightly. She was not disappointed at all. It was something that was expected, wasn't it? Su Qingni patted Lu Yixu's shoulder and said to her, "Let's go, let's find a place to stay temporarily, and I'll accompany you to find Niangniang. No matter what, we have to make a conclusion." Lu Yixu nodded and responded through her nose. Su Qingni called 2 rickshaws over, and the drivers were all Chinese. Lu Yixu was surprised to see the rickshaw drivers and rickshaws. There are rickshaws abroad. Su Qingni said, "There are many Chinese in San Francisco, and there is a Chinatown here, which is full of Chinese people. Let's go to Chinatown to settle down. The 2 of us women and 2 children have a higher safety factor there than in other places." As she said that, she got on a rickshaw holding Guagua, and Lu Yixu and Dao Dao got on another rickshaw. The rickshaw driver had a Cantonese accent, and he felt familiar when he heard Su Qingni speak Mandarin, even with a northeastern accent. When he heard that Su Qingni wanted to find a safe inn to rest, he promised Su Qingni that he would find the best and safest inn for them. The rickshaw driver drove the rickshaw into a street. The familiar architectural shapes and Chinese characters on the signboards made Su Qingni and Lu Yixu think they were back in China. The rickshaw stopped in front of a 3-story building, and the driver asked Su Qingni and the other 2 to get off. Su Qingni looked at the plaque on the building and saw 3 big Chinese characters engraved on it, Zhonghua Building. Zhonghua Building, it feels so familiar. Su Qingni couldn't help but ask, "The owner of this shop is not called Hua Yingxian, right?" The rickshaw driver should know the owner of this inn, and replied, "The owner of Zhonghulao is surnamed Wang, not Hua." Guagua looked up and asked, "Mom, who is Hua Yingxian? Is he a hero?" "Yes, he is a great hero, a martial arts hero, very powerful, beat the foreigners and protected the Chinese people in Chinatown." "Wow, then I want to be like Hua Yingxian." The rickshaw driver sighed, "It would be great if there was such a Hua Yingxian in our Chinatown." Su Qingni smiled slightly. After paying the fare, Su Qingni and the other 3 walked into Zhonghulao. The waiter of Zhonghulao hurried forward to receive the 4 people, and Su Qingni booked a room with a larger bed. Although Chinese people abroad tend to stick together, it is inevitable that there are people with bad intentions among them. Especially the 2 young women and 2 children, they are easy targets. Su Qingni washed off the makeup on her face after boarding the cruise ship, plus she exercised every day, her complexion improved, and the whole person looked as if she was 5 or 6 years younger. In the eyes of others, her appearance was no more than 20 years old. Living in one room, Su Qingni could take care of the 2 children and Lu Yixu. Lu Yixu was not in a hurry to meet Niangniang. In her heart, Niangniang was no longer her husband, and she had no relationship with this man. When she didn't see Niangniang at the dock, Lu Yixu knew that Niangniang didn't regard her as his wife as she expected. Maybe Niangniang's idea was that if he didn't pick her up, she would be alone in a foreign country and she was unfamiliar with the place, and if she died in an accident, he wouldn't even need to divorce. Lu Yixu didn't have hope for Niangniang, she only had hope for the future that Su Qingni described to her. The future depends on her own hard work, and she has to work hard now. Su Qingni gave a tip to the shop assistant of Zhonghua Building and asked him to help introduce a house. When the shop assistant heard that the 2 were going to settle down in Chinatown, he asked them to go and pay a visit to Master Zhang San first. This Master Zhang San was the boss of the Hongmen branch in San Francisco. The entire Chinatown was protected by Master Zhang San. Master Zhang San was a man of honor. As long as he was willing to protect Su Qingni, Lu Yixu and the other 2, they could live in Chinatown with peace of mind. If the 2 did not go to pay a visit to Master Zhang San, he would not care about what happened to them in the future. Su Qingni thanked the shop assistant for his advice, discussed with Lu Yixu, bought some gifts, and went to pay a visit to Master Zhang San with a few small yellow croakers. When Master Zhang San heard that 2 weak women were visiting him with 2 children, the male chauvinist Master Zhang San accepted the gifts, but did not meet Su Qingni and Lu Yixu. However, the fact that he could accept the gifts showed that he accepted that Su Qingni and the other 3 would settle down in Chinatown and that they were the people he was protecting. Now, the shop assistant felt relieved to find a house for Su Qingni and the other 3. There are still some empty houses in Chinatown. Some people who have been abroad for a long time and miss their hometown return home, leaving their houses for friends to help them deal with it. Some families find good jobs and good accommodation in other cities in the United States because their children and grandchildren are successful. So they take their elderly parents there to enjoy the good life, and the house is empty. Su Qingni and Lu Zuai chose a house with a shop. The house is not big, with only a storefront and a small room. Behind the storefront is the kitchen, which is directly connected to the small room. The small room is equivalent to a bedroom, with little space and can only accommodate one person. However, the house is not low in height. The original owner used wooden boards to separate an attic above the storefront for living. Su Qingni lived in the attic with her 2 children. The attic is only 1.5 meters high, and Su Qingni can only walk on it with her waist bent. There is no need to put a bed on it, just put a mattress on the wooden board and you can sleep. The 2 children like the attic very much, running barefoot in the attic and rolling in the bedding. After settling down temporarily, Su Qingni accompanied Lu Zuai to find Niangniang. The issue between the two of them should be resolved as soon as possible. The 2 men came to the University of San Francisco where Niangniang was studying, grabbed a yellow-skinned man, and asked him if he knew Niangniang. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelists. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 621 Asking to Leave the Hall. At this time, there were many Chinese people studying abroad, and even fewer were assigned to each school. Therefore, the Chinese in each school knew each other and formed groups to help each other in a foreign country. The gentleman who was pulled over naturally recognized Niangniang. Seeing that the 2 young women were looking for Niangniang, he couldn't help but ask suspiciously, "Who are you? Why are you looking for Miss Ni?" Lu Yixu glanced at Su Qingni, and Su Qingni gave her a cheering look. Lu Yixu took a deep breath and said, "I am Niangniang's wife." "Impossible." The man said, "Mr. Ni and Miss Li are a couple. They have already started talking about marriage. How could there be a wife?" Lu Yixu snorted coldly. "It was indeed so." She said coldly, "I am the wife that Niangniang married in his hometown." The man suddenly realized and looked at Lu Yixu with contempt as if he was looking at feudal dregs. "So you are the wife that Niangniang married in the wedding arranged by his parents. You actually came here to a foreign country. You really have some perseverance." Lu Yixu hated the man's eyes. She felt that the man in front of her was of the same kind as Niangniang. She said coldly, "I didn't come to Niangniang to destroy him and that Miss Li. You don't have to be so defensive against me. I came to Niangniang to settle things with him. If he wants to marry Miss Li, he has to end their marital relationship with me. Otherwise, is he going to marry Miss Li as his concubine? Nonsense. How could Miss Li be a concubine? You are such a vicious woman." The man said angrily. Lu Yixu snorted coldly, "If you don't want Miss Li to be a concubine, then let Niangniang come to see me. I want to divorce him." "Okay, wait, I'll go find Miss Ni now." After saying that, the man turned and walked into the school gate. Lu Yixu spat at the man's back, turned to Su Qingni and said, "Sister Su, this man is not an admirer of Miss Li, right?" Su Qingni smiled, "I think it's very likely." The 2 waited at the school gate for about 10 minutes, and the man came back, followed by several people, one of whom was Lu Yixu's husband Niangniang. "Lu Yixu, you are so capable, you actually found this place," Niangniang said with a dark face. Lu Yixu sneered at Niangniang, "If I didn't have the ability, I would have died in this foreign country long ago." "Niangniang, your parents sent you a telegram a long time ago? Telling you the time I would arrive in San Francisco, and asking you to pick me up. Why didn't you go? You thought that it was my first time to go far away. I had no experience, I didn't know foreign languages, and I didn't have anyone to help me. I would just wait to die in a foreign country, right? In this way, you don't have to divorce me, you will just lose your wife, and you can marry the woman you met outside, right?" Lu Yixu immediately revealed Niangniang's sinister intentions, and Niangniang couldn't help but feel guilty. Especially the friends around him, all stared at Niangniang in astonishment. They didn't like the arranged marriages at home, and they all decided to divorce their wives at home when they returned home, but they didn't think about their wives dying. Niangniang's move was too vicious. This person has a problem with his character. Do we still have a close relationship in the future? At the critical moment, it's still the lover who is powerful. Miss Li reached out and took Niangniang's hand, and said to Lu Yixu, "Madam, I believe Niangniang has no intention of hurting you. He should not have received the telegram from home. You misunderstood Niangniang. This person helped Niangniang speak up and helped Niangniang to restore his image. The eyes of others looking at Niangniang returned to their usual state. Lu Yixu stared at Miss Li. This woman was not as beautiful as herself, but she was very good at dressing up. She wore a fashionable dress, had small wavy curls, and flaming red lips, which looked very attractive. Whether it's a misunderstanding or not, I know what's going on. Lu Yixu turned her eyes to Niangniang and said, Niangniang, since you have found other women to talk about marriage with you, let's get a divorce. You don't want the woman you like to be a concubine, right? Why are you talking so harshly? The woman next to him scolded, what concubine? You are really an old feudalist. Lu Yixu didn't bother to pay attention to this woman, just staring at Niangniang, waiting for his reply. Can Niangniang say no? Of course not. He had long wanted to get rid of Lu Yixu, a woman with bound feet, although at this time he found that Lu Yixu was different from his impression. But so what? He liked fashionable and beautiful women like Miss Li, not old-fashioned women like Lu Yixu. Although Lu Yixu did not die as he imagined, how could Niangniang not agree to divorce Lu Yixu and get rid of this woman? Okay, let's get divorced now. Niangniang said. It is easy to get divorced in this day and age. Writing a divorce letter or publishing a divorce letter in the newspaper is considered a divorce. In foreign countries, publishing a divorce in the newspaper is considered a divorce. Divorce letter? Lu Yixu, haha, I did nothing wrong. Why did you give the old man a divorce letter instead of me giving you a divorce letter? So, Niangniang wrote a divorce letter in duplicate, and everyone present, including Su Qingni, signed as witnesses. Lu Yixu got her own divorce letter, and without looking at Niangniang again, she turned around and left without any nostalgia. Niangniang and his group looked at the backs of Lu Yixu and Su Qingni, feeling so aggrieved. Why do they feel that these young people of the new era are suppressed and despised by the feudal dregs? Mr. Ni, your original wife is not like an ordinary person. She is different from those women who were raised by feudal ethics. A young woman said. Another young woman spoke, pointing to the front and said, look, she is actually talking to foreigners. Does she know foreign languages? Everyone looked at each other. Such a woman is really different from what they imagined. In addition to the dress and appearance that are different from those women who studied abroad, her temperament and fluent foreign language are no different from those female students who studied abroad. Is this because Niangniang's wife changed when she came abroad? Then will their original wives also change when they came abroad? Shouldn't they be so arbitrary to deny their wives at home? The men fell into deep thought. Lu Yixu didn't know that her performance today made the world less poor women who were abandoned by their husbands who studied abroad. Lu Yixu cried after leaving the side of Niangniang and others. Su Qingni accompanied Lu Yixu silently. Lu Yixu cried for a while before sobbing to Su Qingni, I am not crying because I am sad, I am happy. Now I am free, I can live the life I want. Chapter 622, Asking to leave the hall 11. Su Qingni helped Lu Yixu open a ready-made clothing store with the money Lu Yixu brought. Lu Yixu's needlework is very good, and the clothes she made have fine stitches, which are strong and beautiful. Lu Yixu's most powerful skill is her embroidery, which is better than Su Qingni's mother's embroidery skills when she was in the world of Phoenix Man. Su Qingni asked Lu Yixu to make several sets of men's and women's clothes respectively, put them on wooden models and placed them at the door, which immediately attracted many people to enter the shop. Although most people were just watching the fun, some people stayed to make clothes. Lu Yixu made not only clothes like long gowns and tang suits, but also suits, shongshan suits, dresses and skirts. Su Qingni drew a lot of drawings based on the current social environment and combined with various fashion elements decades later, and asked Lu Yixu to slowly make them. These clothes are more beautiful than the clothes designed and sold by current clothing companies. One of the young men who went out to work in Chinatown saw Lu Yixu's suits hanging outside the store when he went home to visit his parents. He liked them at first sight, bought the suits, and wore them to attend the company party. As a result, he was besieged by the company boss and colleagues, who asked him where he bought the clothes. The young man took the boss and colleagues to Lu Yixu's store. Needless to say, these foreigners were also conquered by the clothes made by Lu Yixu. Those female colleagues originally bought clothes for their lovers or husbands, but when they saw the women's clothes in Lu Yixu's store, they stopped buying clothes for their lovers and husbands, and all the money they brought was exchanged for women's clothes for themselves. After that, Lu Yixu's store became famous outside Chinatown. Many wealthy foreigners went to Lu Zuai's store specifically to ask her to help make clothes. The business of the store was getting better and better, which naturally attracted some coveted people. However, many of them were blocked outside Chinatown by Zhang Sanai. Zhang Sanai really believed in the code of conduct. He admitted that Lu Zuai was someone he protected and would definitely follow Lu Zuai. Of course, there are still some people whom Zhang Sanai cannot afford to offend. At this time, Su Qingni came forward. No matter whether the opponent used cold weapons or hot weapons, Su Qingni beat them all back, and her great reputation shocked the whole of San Francisco. Zhang Sanai felt lucky that he did not offend Su Qingni and Lu Zuai just because they were two women. Su Qingni is not a weak woman at all. This one is simply a Tyrannosaurus Rex. A real master. Zhang Sanai personally visited Su Qingni once. The two chatted for a while, and then Zhang Sanai left. Su Qingni found Lu Zuai and told her that she was leaving. Lu Yixu was shocked. "Why are you leaving? Don't leave me alone." Su Qingni smiled and said, "I didn't say I was going to leave you. It's just that the clothing store is yours, and I have to have my own business." Lu Yixu asked hurriedly, "What are you going to do?" Su Qingni said, "I want to buy a farm to run. Don't worry, it's in San Francisco, on the outskirts of the city. If you missed me, you can come to me." Lu Yixu was reluctant to let Su Qingni go, but she understood that Su Qingni wanted to have her own business. Women are not dependent on men, they must have their own careers and realize their own self-worth. Therefore, no matter how reluctant she was to let Su Qingni and her two children go, Lu Yixu finally expressed her support for Su Qingni's choice. Su Qingni bought a small farm through the introduction of Mr. Zhang Sanai. Although it was not big, it had more than 100 acres of land, 30 cows, 60 sheep, 3 horses, countless chickens and ducks, and 5 hired workers. Among them, there were 2 women and 3 men. They were all a family, a couple in their 40s with their son and daughter. The old couple had worked on the farm for more than 20 years and were very experienced. Su Qingni raised their salary and kept them on the farm. Although many foreigners in the United States look down on Chinese people who grow flowers, this family respected Su Qingni and her 2 children for the sake of money. Guagua and Dao Dao both liked the farm very much. On the farm, they seemed to have returned to the village and could run and play freely. Su Qingni took them on horseback rides and took them to herd cattle and sheep. The 2 children laughed happily every day. Such happy and peaceful days lasted for a while. On a quiet night, someone knocked on Su Qingni's door. With Su Qingni's 5 senses, she had already heard the footsteps and the smell of blood in the air. She had already gotten up from the bed and came to the door. When she opened the door, there were 3 men outside, all covered in blood. The man in the middle was supported by the men on both sides. He was pale and should have been seriously injured. It was Mr. Zhang San. "Miss Su, can we go in and hide for a while?" Su Qingni made way for the 3 people to enter the room. She did not follow him in, but went out into the darkness. The 2 men who supported Master Zhang did not know what Su Qingni was doing, but Master Zhang knew it all. He heaved a long sigh of relief and said to his 2 men, "We are safe." The 2 men did not understand, so Master Zhang chuckled and said, "Miss Su is a real master." After more than a quarter of an hour, Su Qingni returned to the house. Her clothes were the same as when she went out. There was no bloody smell or fierce murderous aura on her body. She was gentle and kind, just like many housewives. The 2 big men shuddered at the same time. Su Qingni like this actually scared them. Su Qingni walked in front of Master Zhang and sat down. Uncle Zhang asked, "Have you dealt with the people outside?" Su Qingni nodded and asked, "Who are they?" Uncle Zhang said, "They are from the Roman gang. Most of them are from Fuzhou. The Roman gang has long coveted our Chinatown. This time they used a trick to trick me out of Chinatown and set up an ambush on the way. Several of my brothers died." Su Qingni did not like the Fuzhou people and said, "Wait until you recover from your injuries, then take people to settle accounts with them. This time, their losses are not small." Uncle Zhang hurriedly thanked him, "Thank you for your help." Su Qingni smiled and said to Uncle Zhang, "If you trust me, let me help you heal your injuries. Do you know medical skills?" Uncle Zhang asked in surprise. Su Qingni nodded, "I learned some in China." Uncle Zhang was happy, "Okay, I'll leave my life to you." Su Qingni went upstairs to get the medical kit. The medical kit was full of equipment and medicines. Don't ask why. In this era and this country, medical supplies must be fully prepared, and 1 or 2 wooden silos should be prepared at home. Going downstairs, Su Qingni began to treat Mr. Zhang. Although Mr. Zhang and Su Qingni chatted happily, that was just a show. In fact, his injuries were very serious. Chapter 623, Asking to leave the hall. 12. Uncle Zhang was stabbed 3 times and hit by a bullet. He was lucky to survive. Su Qingni picked out the bullet, sutured his wound, fed him medicine, bandaged the wounds of the other 2 men, and arranged for them to stay temporarily at her home. The next morning, Uncle Zhang was left at Su Qingni's home to recuperate, and the 2 men returned to Chinatown. The fact that Uncle Zhang was not dead must be told to the people in the gang, so that they would not listen to the words of the Roman gang and lose their composure. The 2 children had seen Uncle Zhang in Chinatown. When they got up in the morning and saw Uncle Zhang in their home, they were a little surprised, but they still greeted Uncle Zhang politely. After knowing that Uncle Zhang was injured, they helped to bring water and medicine to Uncle Zhang. "Your 2 children are very cute," Uncle Zhang said to Su Qingni. "Thank you for the compliment." Su Qingni accepted Uncle Zhang's praise with a smile. "You are worthy of being the children of Marshal Meng," Uncle Zhang said. Su Qingni was not surprised at all. The power of Hongmen is really strong. They actually found out the identities of herself and her 2 children. Zhang Sanai smiled and said, "Marshal Meng doesn't know that you and your 2 children are in San Francisco." Su Qingni responded with the same smile, "Even if Meng Liaozhen knew our whereabouts, I don't care." Zhang Sanai nodded, "Indeed, with your ability, Marshal Meng can't make things difficult for you." Marshal Meng really picked up sesame seeds and lost watermelons. Su Qingni said, "He became a marshal now." Zhang Sanai just became a month ago. Su Qingni, "He was promoted so quickly." Zhang Sanai said, "Marshal Meng has not given up looking for you and the 2 children. He entrusted us in Hongmen to help find people." Su Qingni smiled lightly and didn't care. She was sure that Hongmen would not reveal her information to Meng Liaozhen. "Is the Meng family okay?" Su Qingni asked. "Everyone is fine. Marshal Meng has been promoted, and his 2 concubines have given him a son and a daughter respectively." Zhang Sanai told what he knew. Su Qingni wrote down the news and passed it on to the 2 children. She had no intention of hiding anything from the 2 children. The 2 children heard everything about Meng Liaozhen and the Meng family, and they did not feel any loss or nostalgia. To them, Meng Liaozhen was already a stranger. Uncle Zhang San left after recuperating at the Su family for 2 days. 10 days later, Uncle Zhang San brought a group of injured people to Su Qingni for treatment. Su Qingni wanted to say that she was not running a clinic, but the people were sent to the door, so would she kick them out? She could only let them into the house. Fortunately, the house on her farm was not small. It was a 3-story small Western-style building with many rooms. And if the small Western-style building could not accommodate them, there was another house on the left and right, one of which was occupied by a family of 5 hired workers, and the other was still unoccupied. Su Qingni treated the injuries of everyone, and learned from Uncle Zhang San that they had defeated the Roman gang and took over the sphere of influence of the Roman gang, and the territory of Chinatown would also expand outward. Miss Su has contributed a lot to this. After saying this, Master Zhang asked his men to put a small suitcase on the table. When he opened the suitcase, it was filled with US dollars. Master Zhang pushed the suitcase in front of Su Qingni and said, "These are the medical expenses. Please don't think it's too little, Miss Su." Su Qingni accepted the money generously. She worked hard and saved these people's lives, so why not ask for compensation? And Master Zhang's life alone is worth more than this amount of money. But she didn't care about the small amount of money. According to her visual estimation, there were at least 200,000 US dollars in this box of money, which is a huge sum of money now, enough for her to buy another farm. Master Zhang smiled when he saw Su Qingni accept the money. It's good to accept the money. Su Qingni's acceptance of the money proves that she has accepted his invitation and become a doctor in the San Francisco branch of the Hongmen. In the future, if the brothers are injured, they will have a place to treat. There are of course medical clinics in Chinatown, but Chinese medicine clinics are good for treating common diseases, but they are not as effective as Western medicine in treating external injuries. But after they were injured, they could not go to the hospital run by foreigners. Even if they went, the foreign hospitals would not accept them. Now, Miss Su knows both Chinese and Western medicine, so everyone's injuries can be treated in time. This is equivalent to a certain degree of guarantee for everyone's lives. After that, Su Qingni really became the exclusive doctor of Hongmen. In addition to running her own farm, she treated the brothers in Chinatown. Guagua and Dao Dao saw a lot and became curious about medical skills. Su Qingni taught them some Chinese medicine, and when they grew up, she sent them to school and let them study Western medicine in medical school when they were in college. The two children were very good under Su Qingni's teaching. After graduating from medical school, one of them entered the largest public hospital in San Francisco as a doctor, and the other returned home to inherit their own farm, but inherited their mother's profession part-time and became the exclusive doctor for the brothers of Hongmen. The two children's lives are very stable and happy. When they are old enough, they get married and have children and have their own small families. The two are much happier than their brothers and sisters in China. It is not easy to be the children of the marshal. Even the life of the marshal himself was not well protected, let alone their children. The domestic war had never stopped. Meng Liaozhen was later defeated. Although he escaped with his life, he failed to save all his family. Except for the two sons born to the second wife, all his other children disappeared on the way to escape. Two daughters even fell into the brothel. Meng Liaozhen finally took his two sons to Hong Kong Island. He had no money left, and could only rely on working as a laborer at the dock with his two sons to make money to support himself. Later, Guagua and Dao Dao learned about Meng Liaozhen's situation from Zhang Sanai, and asked the brothers of Hongmen to bring a Swiss bank check to Meng Liaozhen, so that Meng Liaozhen and his family could improve their lives and live well. Meng Liaozhen was filled with emotion when he held the check. He had many words in his heart, but he didn't know what to say. He had never thought about reuniting with Su Qingni. He knew that he was not worthy of Su Qingni now. Except for the third son of Meng, the rest of the Meng family lived well in the village. Decades later, Guagua and Dao Dao returned to their hometown to worship their ancestors and saw the flourishing Meng family. Lu Zuai later married a foreigner. With the help of her husband, her clothing store developed into a clothing company and became the world's most famous clothing brand company. Su Qingni found the extremely yin place and buried the nether stone in the second year after she came to the United States. After her two children got married, she left this world. Chapter 624 Fox Fairy 1. The new world can accommodate more of Su Qingni's souls, which allows Su Qingni to use the lowest level storage bag. There are also several magic weapons with decent power in the bag, which are the practice works of the younger generation who have just cultivated to the golden immortal realm. However, the qualifications of the body that Su Qingni possessed were not very good. After practicing for hundreds of years, she has not yet transformed into a human body, and was ridiculed by the sisters and brothers in the clan. Well, this time she was not possessed by a human, but a fox spirit, the most useless fox spirit. The original mother was a member of the Tushan family, with noble blood, but her father was indeed a mixed-haired fox. At the beginning, the foxes of the Tushan family opposed the original mother's being with her father, but the original mother's parents were more affectionate than gold. The original mother eloped with the original father despite the opposition of others. This couple is very loving and will not have conflicts because of the difference in identity and blood. They gave birth to 10 children 100 years after eloping. The original mother was injured because of childbirth. For his beloved wife, the original father took his wife and children back to Kinkyu. In Kinkyu, because of the blood relationship, the original body and her brothers and sisters were ridiculed a lot, which made them unwilling to stay in Kinkyu. When most of the sisters had cultivated into human form, they left Kinkyu. The original body could not leave Kinkyu without a human form. At the same time, her younger brothers Xiaoxi and Xiaoba, who were a little older than her, also stayed in Kinkyu. Xiaoxi and Xiaoba had already transformed, but Xiaoba transformed into a boy of 11 or 12 years old, and Xiaoxi transformed into a child of 5 or 6 years old. The two children did not look down on the original body because the original body was too dull and could not transform. They had a good relationship with the original body and took good care of the original body. The original body died because it was too anxious to transform. When Su Qingni possessed it, this body had most of its meridians broken because of the demonic possession. Su Qingni had to repair the broken meridians of the original body first, and then think about practicing to improve her strength. Su Qingni lay in her little nest, trying to circulate the spiritual energy in her body, repairing the meridians bit by bit. Fortunately, after hearing that the original body's parents were injured, they sent her a healing elixir. The elixir was quite effective, allowing Su Qingni to repair her body twice as fast. Xiaojiu, Xiaojiu. Jiji, Jiji. The voices of the boy and the child came into Su Qingni's ears. Su Qingni moved her ears, opened her eyes, and crawled out of the nest. The boy and the child had come to Su Qingni. The boy picked Su Qingni up and said, "Xiao Jiu, the elder sister is back, and she brought back her brother-in-law. Let's go and meet him." Brother-in-law. Su Qingni was surprised. Is the brother-in-law also a fox? Otherwise, the elder sister Su would not have brought people back to Qingqiu. You must know that Qingqiu is the mainland of the Fox clan. Except for the Fox clan, no other people or monsters can enter Qingqiu, even gods. That brother-in-law is not a fox, but he has the blood of the Fox clan. Xiao Ba said. Su Qingni. Xiao Ba explained to Su Qingni, brother-in-law is half demon and half human. Su Qingni understood, this brother-in-law should be the child of a fox spirit and a human. This kind of children is quite pitiful. They are neither human nor demon, neither side. The demon clan values blood and despises the existence of these half-demons, and if the human side discovers the true identity of the half-demon, it will kill it as a monster. Children of half-demons usually don't live long, but my brother-in-law can grow up so big as a half-demon, and he can also deceive my sister to be his wife. He must be very powerful. He must have suffered a lot during his growth, but his own ability should be very powerful. Su Qingni showed a little interest in my brother-in-law, stretched out his little paw and patted the back of Su Xiaoba's hand, asking him to take his feelings to the cave of Su's father and mother. Foxes all live in caves, but some foxes who like elegance will build their own houses and decorate the houses beautifully. Su's father and mother like to live in the house. Father Su built a 2-story bamboo house for Mother Su, which was somewhat like the Miao family's stilt house, but more exquisite than the stilt house. Downstairs was a small courtyard with many flowers and spiritual herbs planted in it, which were colorful and extremely beautiful. Downstairs were stone tables and stone benches for entertaining guests. At this time, a man Su Qingni had never seen was sitting next to the table. The man was dressed in a Confucian shirt and looked like a scholar, but he was more heroic than a scholar who is powerless. There was a smile on his face, but his eyes were cold. Only when he looked at the woman next to him did he show a little warmth in his eyes. This is a man with a story. Su Qingni was no longer worried when she saw the man looking at Sister Su. No matter how scheming this person was, no matter how terrible he was, this person liked Sister Su and he would not hurt her. Father Su saw the 3 youngest children running over and called them to his side, asking them to call someone. The 3 of them obediently called him brother-in-law. Brother-in-law's eyes softened a little, and he looked really happy. He took out 3 red fruits from his arms and gave them to the 3 children as a gift. Zu fruit. Su's father and mother both screamed. This is actually Zu fruit. A natural treasure that blooms and bears fruit for 100 years. The eldest brother-in-law actually gave it to the 3 children so casually. The eldest brother-in-law said, by chance, I encountered a Zu fruit tree that bears fruit and got some Zu fruit. Su's father said, this is too precious, how can you give it to 3 children casually? You must know that this Zu fruit is usually hidden in the ground and in the cracks of rocks. It will not pop up until the day when it blooms and bears fruit. People can't find it even if they want to. In addition, the Zu fruit itself has the effect of washing the marrow and strengthening the meridians to increase the power. Its preciousness can be compared to those 1,000-year-old medicinal herbs. The eldest brother-in-law said, Father-in-law, why don't you be so formal with me? Xiaoba, Xiaojiu and Xiaoshi will be my younger brothers and sisters in the future. Sister Su also said, Dad, this is mingling for Xiaoba, Xiaojiu and Xiaoshi, not for you. Su's father had to let the 3 children accept it and let them thank the eldest brother-in-law. The 3 little ones thanked him and sat down in the yard. They looked at their elder brother-in-law with curiosity and listened to the conversation between him and Su's father and mother. His elder brother-in-law didn't like to talk, but he had to answer when asked by Taishan. From his introduction, Su Qingni learned that he was the child of a Taoist priest and a fox fairy. This fox fairy came from Qingqiu. His name was known to everyone, not only Su's father and mother, but also Su Qingni. Chapter 625 Fox Fairy 2. The eldest brother-in-law's mother is called Tu Shenzhen, who is of the bloodline of the 9-tailed fox and has a nobler status than Su's mother. Since the 9-tailed fox turned into Su Daji and led King Zhou to ruin the country of Chengtang, the 9-tailed fox has ceased to exist in the world. Su Daji died at the hands of Zhang Ziya, and other 9-tailed foxes suffered the cause and effect of Su Daji ruining a dynasty, and they all died one after another. There are no nine-tailed foxes in the world, only the descendants of the fox clan who have more or less nine-tailed fox blood in their bodies. The status of these descendants in Qingni is determined by the amount of nine-tailed fox blood in their bodies. The original body naturally also has the bloodline of the nine-tailed fox in its body, but it is very, very rare, so its status in Qingni is very low. Many people in the clan look down on the original body, and even the original body's sisters don't like her sister very much. But because their parents are still there, those sisters didn't show it. Back to the point, Tu Shanjin's nine-tailed fox bloodline is strong, and she can practice faster than ordinary foxes. It only took 500 years to practice and become a fox fairy. Fox immortals belong to earthly immortals, the lowest level among immortals, but they are already the envy and respect of many fairies. There are other fox immortals in Qingni, but most of them are practicing in the forbidden land of Qingni. Their goal is to ascend to become celestial immortals. Only by becoming celestial immortals can they truly be free and worry-free. Unlike earthly immortals, they will experience a thunder tribulation every 490 years. Only by surviving the tribulation safely can they continue to be free for 490 years. If they fail to survive, they will be completely dead. Unlike celestial immortals, as long as they do not reach the 5 decays of heavenly beings, as long as they do not seek death and provoke enemies stronger than themselves, celestial immortals will live peacefully and freely. Moreover, after becoming celestial immortals, the characteristics of foxes will completely disappear and they will become immortals. At the earthly immortal stage, even if they are immortals, the characteristics of the fox clan cannot be completely eliminated. In the eyes of many humans, they are still regarded as fox spirits. But in fact, the fox clan below the fox immortal is the fox spirit. Immortals and spirits are no longer the same species. While most fox immortals live in seclusion and practice cultivation, Tu Shanjin, the new fox immortal with a promising future, has become the idol of the entire Qingni fox clan. Many fox clans pursue Tu Shanjin and want to become her partner. However, Tu Shanjin is arrogant and looks down on the fox clans of Qingni, and does not choose a partner. The fox clans thought that she was like many of her predecessors, practicing wholeheartedly and wanted to become a celestial immortal as soon as possible. But Tu Shanjin did not go to the forbidden area to practice, but left Qingni. After that, the fox clans of Qingni never heard of Tu Shanjin again. The eldest brother-in-law Shui Mingling told the news of Tu Shanjin. After leaving Qingni, Tu Shanjin traveled everywhere and later met Shui Mingling's father Shui Qingsu. Shui Qingsu was a Taoist priest with a high level of cultivation, so he naturally saw Tu Shanjin's identity. The two people were like a destined fate, and they could meet no matter where they went. Then, the two naturally traveled together, naturally became lovers, and finally became husband and wife. But Shui Qingsu's master did not allow him to become a couple with the fox spirit, even though the fox spirit was already a fox fairy and out of the category of monsters. But Shui Qingsu's master has always adhered to the concept of killing demons and conquering demons, and even believed that those who are not of my race must have different hearts, and felt that Tu Shanjin was not well-intentioned to be with Shui Qingsu, and deliberately seduced the best disciples of their sect to lead Shui Qingsu to learn bad things. So, Shui Qingsu's master tricked Shui Qingsu away, and a group of people surrounded and killed Tu Shanjin. Although Tu Shanjin was a fox fairy with strong magic power, the masters of Shui Qingsu's master were not vegetarians. Both sides were injured in the fight, but Tu Shanjin was worse. She was already pregnant at this time, and when she fought with others, her belly became a burden to her. When Shui Qingsu reacted and rushed home, Tu Shanjin was already seriously injured. Shui Qingsu was sad and angry and injured the predecessors of his master's sect who he originally respected, and fled with Tu Shanjin. Tu Shanjin was injured and died soon after giving birth. Shui Qingsu took his son to guard his wife's grave. His heart was dead. The reason why he did not follow his wife immediately was to raise the child. When Shui Mingling was 16 years old, Shui Qingsu felt that he had taught him everything he should teach him, and Shui Mingling also had the power to protect himself, so he chose to die one day and lay beside Tu Shanjin's grave. Shui Mingling buried his father and walked out of the forest for the first time. During this period, he suffered a lot. Because of his half-demon identity, humans and monsters didn't like him. But compared to the monster's naked dislike, he hated to guard against the calculations of human intrigue. Therefore, Shui Mingling had a bad impression of people. Shui Minglang's acquaintance with Sister Su originated from the beauty saving the hero. When Shui Minglang felt that his strength was already good, he became Shui Qingxi's master to avenge his mother. Although Shui Minglang's strength was stronger than everyone in that master's school, how could this sect that had been passed down for a long time not have some trump cards? This sect used a powerful magic weapon from the sect to injure Shui Minglang. Shui Minglang fled with the wounds and was chased by the people of that sect. After that, Shui Minglang was seriously injured and his body could no longer bear it, and he fainted in the forest. Sister Su happened to pass by the forest and smelled the breath of the Fox clan from Shui Minglang. Seeing that there were Taoist priests chasing Shui Minglang, she quickly took Shui Minglang away from the forest. Sister Su helped Shui Minglang heal his wounds and took care of the injured Shui Minglang. Naturally, the two became a couple. With the help of Sister Su, Shui Minglang, who had recovered from his injuries, went to Shui Qingxi's master again to help his mother avenge. He did not kill people, but only killed the culprit who had seriously injured his mother and caused her mother's death and left. Without having to bear hatred anymore, Shui Minglang became relaxed and was in the mood to think about getting married and having children. He successfully proposed to Sister Su and followed Sister Su back to Qingqiu to ask for marriage from Su's father and mother. Qingqiu allowed Shui Minglang to enter Qingqiu because his mother was too Shenzhen. Although the Fox tribe here looked down on his half-demon identity, they were still very polite to him on the surface. Some of her mother's old acquaintances were very caring towards Shui Minglang. And Su's father and mother were also very satisfied with Shui Minglang. So what if she was a half-demon? As long as their daughter liked it? They didn't care about their daughter's identity. If they cared about her identity, Su's mother, a fox of noble blood, would not have married Su's father, a mixed-haired fox. Since their parents agreed, Sister Su and Shui Minglang's wedding was prepared. The daughters of the Su family who had left Qingqiu to make a living received the news that their sister was getting married, and all rushed back. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.